Welcome to the Serious TV Drama Podcast, Survivor Edition. I'm Scot, the host who only spoils things on purpose. And joining me tonight, a woman who's always spoiling for a fight, it's Tiffany. Hey, Tiff.
Hey.
We are joined by the huntsman of the Black Forest, well, more like Black Forest ham. And we promised that ham ain't spoiled either, because it's Brian. Hey, Brian.
Hey, I just want to say I'm so happy that the one true Zoom alliance did make it to the end of Survivor. And this is the one that represents all of America and not just the hard right.
Didn't think we were going to touch on that in the first 60 seconds, but nicely done. Speaking of our little alliance here, we do have a almost last-minute addition. It might have been a surprise because, you never know when someone could spoil that too. But she finished this a couple hours ago on another Survivor podcast, and she swam back to our shores to join us here. It's Jamie. Hey, Jamie.
Hey, guys. I really quick ran and grabbed my red overalls so I could do a 5-second family visit with y'all.
I thought you were going to say you're the power broker. You're going between the podcasts back and forth.
Nice. We are all back here to give our thoughts, our feelings, our observations about the finale night of Survivor 50 in the hands of the fans, which I actually didn't realize until a few hours ago. The episode actually had a title, Reverse the Curse, which, in my opinion, turns out to be kind of stupid since it applies to something that was said well after the winner was crowned. So anyway, before we get started, or as we get started, we do learn that instead of doing a more traditional 2 straight hours of island content, and then the final hour being live with the first voting results, crowning the winner, then the reunion, they leaned rather heavily into cutting back and forth here, which, as far as my somewhat dwindling memory serves, it's not the first time they've done this kind of a format. But it seemed to me as though they did it in such an extreme way that by the time we did get to the votes being read, there was a heck of a lot less time left for anything resembling, a reunion or a real Q&A with, most members of the cast. So I personally found it to be more often than not a kind of a regrettable and a poor choice overall. Did anyone here feel any differently, or maybe you were more pro this approach?
I didn't love it. I felt like it cut the flow of the storytelling.
Absolutely stopped.
I'm going to say one little thing, and then Tiffany, I'm going to allow you to get a drink, and I'm going to cede you the floor to spit flames. I thought there were a couple of moments in it that were good, like bringing Suri out, like sort of towards the beginning and saying she's already out of the game, but we're going to give her this moment early in the show. I thought that was nice. But the coming back to the little bits with obviously the favorite players, like, he could have given Devins the coin in front of the cast at the end, and that would have been better than the way they did it. So I thought it mostly failed. Like the Aussie shirt is fine, but I want to talk to the cast. There were people that didn't get talked to at all. And I think in a season where you beg all these great people to come back, everybody should have gotten a line or a second. But I mean, I saw somebody say on social media, and I agree with it, like, you get Jenna to come back from like the first season and she doesn't even get a line in the show. I mean, that's regrettable. If you're really representing all the seasons of Survivor, they should have all been represented in the finale, and they weren't.
I didn't even see Jenna. Like, I don't even recall seeing her in that group. Couldn't figure her out. She was not acknowledged. Like, that was terrible. Season 1. Yeah, it was pretty crappy for me. It was a no for me. It was confusing, like Jamie said. It cut into the storytelling. I'm sitting there like, what the hell is going on? And then we all know what happened.
Which actually was my favorite part of the entire.
We'll get there when we get there.
Wait, the Suri thing. Okay. So you want to hail her this iconic player and all this, and she's all great, and then you give her this fucked up art project? What the fuck?
A participation trophy.
Like, the fuck? like, ridiculous. Like, you couldn't throw her, like, 50,000, 25,000, something that, it looked what the fuck
Well,
was that?
I had
Sorry, I'm
an
starting with the
idea.
F-bombs early.
Go for it. Go for it. I had an idea, Scott, that I thought often in pro sports, when a player creates a certain kind of impact, they create an award for that player.
Mhm.
And I thought if you really want to honor Sari to live on through the game, like create like the Survivor Spirit, Sari's Field Spirit Award, and say like going forward from this season on, the player that wins this award, it best exemplifies like the social aspect of the game, whether they win or not. And we're gonna let the fans vote on that. Like do something like that so her name is on something going forward. And I think that honors her in the way that's the way sports do with certain
Sure.
awards, name it after a player. And I thought that was a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I have a lot more to say about all that. And there's some stuff I want to get to when we get to the end about compensation and such, but we'll get there. I didn't even put notes on it, but it's been in my head for like a day, and I keep going. I want to talk about this on the podcast because there's they need to start acknowledging the money that people are being paid here. But anyway, we do get to see everybody all cleaned up and dressed up, and we do learn before we go back to the island that the one person who's not going to be part of the reunion, or whatever we're calling it, because it's not really a reunion, is Mike White. Even though the fans voted for the reunion, we don't really get the reunion, but okay, I guess it's sort of in the hands of the fans, but not really. We get back to the island. I noticed there was very little talk about the fact that they just ousted Siri, and I pronounced it that way just so my phone wouldn't go off. It's it's pretty clear that it's going to be either Tiffany or Aubrey as the next person out, based on what the three dudes are saying to each other. I kind of think this is all in no duh land, so I don't know if there's anything really more to comment on here, unless someone has something they thought stood out here. I personally thought it was one of the least interesting post vote camp returns of the season, and
Yeah.
and I think maybe that's because the last two are Siri and Rick. So you all of a sudden have a vacuum or a void of both personality and interest here.
The only thing that was good about it is it was good to see Tiffany say, like, I'm gonna go out on my terms. I'm not kissing your ass. I'm not pretending like I'm your friend. You're not gonna sit here and tell me we're buddies after you just tried to maneuver me out of the game. Like, I like that from this point on, from the second she saw Sari go out, Tiffany was loyal to Sari and was pissed at them for what they did and how they did it. And I mean, I saw her catch a lot of flack, but I love the way she went out in this. But for one puzzle piece, this would have been a completely different game.
Oh, definitely. Well, there's no secret. I'm a big fan of hers. But one of the things that I love the most about her is just the fact that she does not have time for the bullshit. She suffers no fools. So it's like, hey, it is a game, but don't sit there and tell me that my ass wasn't on the line, that you couldn't have talked to me, like all these things. Like, we don't need to kiss any ass here. We know it's real.
So my take on the whole Tiffany after, the vote out of 3 was I would have reacted the same way. Like, don't come over here trying to talk to me. Fuck you. Like, you guys were literally about to vote me out had I not won. Fuck you. You can't come, and yes, it's a game and all of that, but she at one point was aligned with Aubrey. She was also allegedly aligned with Joe. Like, fuck you. You're not going to come over here and, try to manage me because you want me to play nice, or you don't want it to be uncomfortable for the next day until I lose when you're going to vote me out anyway. So, yeah, I don't blame her. Like, the conversation with Rizzo, and Rizzo basically telling her, yeah, I'm going to vote you out. There's nothing to change my mind. Well, then I don't need to talk to you. What are we doing?
And I think that the difference between being like very clear about where everyone is standing and having a fit and just having a fit and poor sportsmanship is the fact that when Aubrey was like, yeah, okay, you're right. We know whose name was going to go down. Okay. She drops it. We're not fighting anymore. We're just being clear.
Yeah, but right, because also, as Aubrey has shown, and she says it in different ways during the course of this episode and previous ones, Aubrey is the one, other than maybe Suri herself, actually, who's been proceeding with a very, focused logic on how she's going about things. And she said it a number of times, get rid, and Siri I read the interviews, Siri said that's why she played the best game. Get rid of your biggest target. Get rid of your biggest threat. Who's your biggest threat? Siri. That's who she got rid of. Who's next? Tiffany. So now that's why it's Aubrey versus Tiffany. They were pals, but guess what? There's no one who's going to swing over them because the three guys are going after one or the other. They're not going to change that. They're not going to get the guy. Joe's not turning on Jonathan. Jonathan's not turning on Joe. Rizzo knows he has a better shot against those two guys than either of the two women. There's nothing that can change that. See, that would be my only issue is it's the reality of where she was in the game. I mean, don't be mad because, I'm not saying I'm not applying this to every player there, but at the end of the day, I said it, already now. At the end of the day, they perceive you as the biggest threat. You are the biggest threat. If it's a choice between you and Aubrey, the reason why here's the irony of it all, they're going to go for you instead of Aubrey because if you have you're more likely to win the next challenge than Aubrey is. Of course, we know how that worked out for them. So karma got the three guys in the end anyway. But I mean, I'm not saying I don't understand the way Tiffany was, but I didn't really. My issues weren't with Tiffany here. It's a little bit later on, so maybe we'll just wait till we get there. But right now, I'll say I sort of agree with you guys. I appreciate her being real and being in this, and there's no reason to talk about stuff. Although it is kind of maybe not ironic, but funny. There's a similar conversation that happens a little bit later on between her and Rizzo, where it's the "Can I say anything to change your mind?" and give Rizzo credit, like no. So there's no reason to talk. Right. I respect both players in that instance. There isn't anything else to say because what are you going to change his mind? There isn't. You don't have another path that makes sense for him at that point. You are the biggest threat. You've won challenges. You're a very social player, and you're a fucking strategic player. You're basically a more likable Jonathan right now. Of course, I'm going to be over for you if you're there. So
can I just say, you know what though, as you say that, so let's just play out like a quick, if the final three were Joe, Jonathan, and Tiffany, I still think that Jonathan would have won because Jonathan was really fucking good at that final tribal.
Yeah.
He was really for a moment, I actually thought that he was going to win.
Yeah.
It would depend. I think it would entirely depend on the case Tiffany presented. We have seen people, especially in the new era, who essentially one got the right to be sole survivor more based on how they performed in the final tribal than almost anything else. Marianne is the best example. When we went to the finale that night, I was one of the. I don't even know why she's here. She did a couple things, but I wasn't that impressed by her. And then I remember I was talking to at least one or two of you, and I said, holy shit, I think Marianne, I'm not even saying she could win. I think she should win. That was an amazing case she laid out. I didn't know she had it in her, but
she definitely had one of the best final tribals.
And if Tiffany articulates her case and doesn't and keeps it together, because she's in the final fucking three, absolutely. But if she doesn't, because Jonathan actually wasn't bad in the final tribal either, especially considering he was a little cheerleading squad, but which kind of might have actually cost him votes.
I think it did, but I'll put a bow on this tip.
Yeah, I didn't want to. Yeah,
the thing I think really pissed her off is that they basically said we're voting for you. Everything else is equal with you and some of the other guys, but you're a girl. And I think
they literally said that.
Well, literally said you're a girl.
Yeah.
Well, there's something to that said, but it said at tribal and it was edited out. That's why I wasn't bringing it up here because we haven't even had the challenge yet. But that is said at the tribal. That is what we'll just say it now. It was edited out. Jonathan is the one who says it to her, and that is why she just goes full fucking bore, and the way she acts, and that's one of those things where the way they edit it by cutting that bit out It made it kind of was a bad edit for her because it
It
made
was.
it
I
a
thought
lot
it was
worse.
bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean,
it didn't bother me. I didn't feel like she was being a sore ass loser in the moment. Even then, I didn't. But I know that there are those who would be like, "Well,
I don't think she was being a sore ass loser. I think she Ozzy kind of acted the same way, and nobody whatever. But I'm gonna go.
We gave Ozzy shit for it too. I can't be a hypocrite about it. Sorry.
Okay, well,
I did,
but
I was too busy crying for him, his dumb ass.
I personally feel like they were playing into the angry black woman trope with her, with that edit. And that pissed me off because, my God, a black person raises their voice, so they're showing emotion. It's fucking $2 million. Yeah, it's a game. Yeah, I know I'm the biggest threat, but I'm still going to be fucking pissed off.
Yeah, there are people who get away with it, and there's people who don't get away with it.
Yeah.
And notoriously, we know who doesn't.
I don't disagree per se, but I will again say this. If not for the comment that Jonathan makes, which is why when I watched a show about that, and they were talking about that she told the people who hosted the show that that's what happened, and it was cut out. That's why that came off the way it did. But if that hadn't happened, or if I hadn't known that, or even what ends up happening afterwards, that is something to be pissed off about. I kind of wish she had railed on more about that specifically, and God knows maybe she did, and they cut even more of it out. That wouldn't surprise me either. And knowing that happened does make you go, well, look at the fucked up fucking way they framed her to look that way. And then what Tiffany just said is absolutely spot on, because it's exactly the trope you're fucking feeding into. And this is a show which is, prided itself for the last, several years, like, oh, we're going to be more about, diversity and this and this and that. And then you fucking do shit like that, which is kind of bullshit. That said, I still think there were certain things she did, especially once it was time to go, that I'm sorry, you're still coming off a certain way. And you can applaud I can't applaud people for going out, being classy, and then other people fucking being kind of pissy about it and equating the two. I won't. I understand it's not like she got stabbed in the back by a whole bunch of people who were on her side at one time. It's not like she was blindsided or betrayed and they fucked her over. She was pissed off, and she had a right to be because of the thing with Jonathan and just whatever. But she also had to know that reality is like, you're one of two people they have to get rid of, and you make the most sense to get rid of. And if you're still upset about them voting out 3, I'm sorry, they voted out the most threatening person in the entire game, the person that everyone who played this game said would have won. Stop it. That's all I have to say about that.
I think that she I think she had a mix of them and their foolery, but I think there was also how are you not pissed when you are a half a second away with that puzzle piece? You're that close.
Oh yeah, no.
You're probably already
her reaction
you're already
to that was
steaming.
Perfect. I have no issue with that.
You're already you're so close. You're sitting here and you're hitting Final Four, so you're already stressing the situation.
Absolutely.
And then you've got somebody like Jonathan sitting next to you, and I don't know if I was sitting next to the same group of people. If Jonathan was sitting next to me and I knew he was going to get farther than me, I don't know that I wouldn't be a sourpuss about shit too.
Absolutely.
And I think there could be other people there, and I would be like Devins, and I'd be like, I just love it here, and I'm so glad I got to have this opportunity. But knowing Jonathan got to go further would just grate me.
And again, you're not wrong, but I would also go, hey, who might have a bit more of a reason to be really pissed off right now? There's someone who's looking at you right now who's logged over 100-something fucking days on this show, who always is the bridesmaid and never the bride, who's declared the greatest Survivor player, who still hasn't won, who just got knocked out, which means he outlasted her too. She has a bigger right to act or be pissed.
That would make me even more pissed.
And she wasn't.
Man. And fuck you for Sari too, buddy. That's what I had to say.
She had said that. That would have been that would have been an iconic fucking moment. That would have been like, I want to see replays of that. This is never going to get replayed again. There's nothing. It's just like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. You're not even gonna wave and say,
Right,
okay,
you're
whatever,
right, it won't.
whatever.
No, but credit
I
to
have to
her.
say goodbye. Fuck you. No, I don't blame
That
her. I would have been just as pissed. Do we not forget Natalie on the season with Mike White?
You know what she
when,
should have fucking done? You know what she should have fucking done? I would have respected it because of what she did later on. Made me go, okay, that's the Tiffany I fucking love. You could have even just said goodbye to fucking Aubrey and say fuck the rest and walked out. That would have been fucking cool.
Fuck
She
you,
doesn't
fuck
have
you,
to fucking
you're
say
cool,
goodbye
I'm
to
out.
anybody. They all
All right.
fucking voted for her. Fuck
So you know
them.
what she did good, Scott? If we're talking about not being hypocritical, when Jonathan won the puzzle, she didn't go over and hug him and do that fake shit like, "Oh, I'm so happy, Jonathan, that you won," like they all do, like all the rest of them do. She
You know,
was consistent throughout the rest of the episode.
he only hugged
And
one
she went
person
out.
actually, but yeah. It's funny. All this talk about Tiffany kind of stepped on the thing I wanted to say about Suri, which was because
Well,
they
do
cut
it.
back to her. No, it's fine. I don't mind. We covered a lot of it before, but what I wanted to say is that, obviously they cut back to the live thing. That's when they talk to Suri here and they give her that lame award that looks like, some little school project you got, as I put it, which was the joke that was meant to be told, but I wanted to do. It looks like a flame trying to burn its way out of a pile of shit. That's what the fucking award looks like. And then to top it off, the
It's a little
inscription.
vagina-ish too, if we're gonna be real.
Well, if the vagina is coated in shit, maybe with a big splashback while someone's taking a crap on the island or something. But the
Makes sense that
inscription,
it would be inflamed at that point.
right?
So
The inscription literally says, "For inspiring others to discover the fire that burns within." And no,
yes.
I wasn't getting fancy with my pronunciation of that. The award actually has a typo on it. They spelled the word "that"
Thought.
with the letter O instead of an A.
I
This
love
is like,
that.
this is like the dart plaque I just got, which had my name Eric spelled with a CK. No one spelled it with a CK. Stop that.
Oh,
What?
shit.
Ugh. So, but
You
like,
noticed that? Wow.
oh,
Yeah.
it
Hey, Scott, I loved that.
no,
I
it was
I
amazing.
thought that was so good.
I was like, is that how they? I bet that's how they spell thought too. But like Brian had said earlier, and why I even took the time to mention it is because I did like the fact that they gave Siri the flowers that I didn't feel she got in the final tribal from the previous episode.
I will say that there was a much nicer trophy behind that soundstage that they should have given her in the shape of a Range Rover, but that's just me.
Well, I have my issues with that as well. Anyway, challenge we already kind of covered a bit, so I'll just throw in to mention that because there was actually something unique in the challenge. So it's the one time I actually want to mention a stupid fucking detail in it was the Survivor fishing pole that people had to use as they climbed up a tower to make a machete. The problem with this new thing is that there seemed to be little to no drama with the fishing pole. Everyone was able to do it rather easily, apparently. So it's like, okay, nice try, guys. Come up with something a bit tougher. All the other obstacles are everything we've seen a million times before when throwing this and squirreling your way through a net. We get to that large circular puzzle. It comes down to, as we've already said, between Jonathan, who stops to puke. By the way, people have been stopping and puking on the season a lot this season. It's kind of interesting. And yeah, Jonathan beats Tiffany by basically one piece. He was able to hand hammer it in before she did. He's a typical loud celebrator. He tightly hugs Joe. Tiffany's clearly not happy because she can see the writing is on the wall or on future pieces of pavement. Before we go back, we do have a moment with Christian and Rick, and it's kind of like what the thing that Brian had mentioned before. That's where Rick is given the Mr. Beast coin that he had flipped. Funny theory that I heard, and I think it was Drew Basile, the former Survivor player, the guy who looked like Napoleon Dynamite.
Great voice, that one.
He thinks they're grooming Rick Devens to take over.
I heard that.
The new Survivor host. I don't necessarily think that's true because I just don't see Jeff relinquishing the position anytime soon. And
I used to think that about Malcolm, actually, but that was not correct, clearly.
Oh, Malcolm, the player who should have been brought back? Oh, don't remember.
Yeah, that's the one.
Well, here's the interesting thing, Scott, is if there's any truth to that, there is a new owner of the parent company that has a different view on life, that if he reaches down into the Survivor verse and wants to make changes like he has at CBS News, he might just want to make changes and say, hey, let's get rid of Jeff Probst and bring in a new host, and Devens might be auditioning for that. Now, I think all of us would probably be a little disappointed if Devins did that, but it certainly would be life changing for him and his family. And I don't know that I could begrudge him for doing it. But that's more possible than ever because of real world events that have happened within the past 6 months.
Ooh.
Well, my issue with Devins getting things or not getting things is that if someone else deserved to be given something by the show or awarded something after the winner, I'm sorry. The dude who put it on the line and was the guy who made him double the thing to 2 million, and the guy who was the most entertaining guy in the entire season doesn't get jack squat. I would give everyone knew that spoiler that Siri was going to win the CFN award.
Yeah.
There wasn't going to be a doubt about that. Give fucking Devins the goddamn car. That's the person who's already winning $2 million doesn't need a stupid car on top of it. And oh, by the way, does she have to keep that stupid decal on the side door? Because that looks so stupid.
That's why I said she's got to auction it to pay off all those California taxes on her $2 million.
Right. Speaking of things on the live thing, I'll just get this out of the way. We also get Jeff talking to Mike White. Then we find out they basically started writing the 4th season of The White Lotus when he was voted out, when he has to remain in that kind of state of like quarantine.
Is that why he left? Because he left. He didn't stay. Like he left pretty much right away. That's what I've heard.
Right, but he had to agree to do a thing where you couldn't be in contact with people necessarily.
Okay.
That's why he's mentioning like not having his phone or whatever. And he does reveal that a couple of people from this season of Survivor are going to make appearances on White Lotus. Charlie.
Good choice.
So, nice. Okay.
I'm happy with who he picked.
I have no problem with it. Especially Camilla. So we go back to the island. It's pretty much clearly stacked against Tiffany here. She's trying to pitch Aubrey is the better person to vote out. She even promises Joe she would take him if she should win at Final Four. But Rizzo is clearly not going to change his mind. Jonathan is playing that non-committal bullshit, but likely doesn't want to risk her winning immunity, so he's not going to change his mind. So we go to Tribal, and that's where as we were just talking about. She's clearly annoyed, and she's going to speak her mind. And then when you find out after the fact what was edited out, that what Jonathan really said to her, because it makes it look like, no, it's nothing personal. You're just the edit makes it seem like it's just talking about you're the most dangerous threat here.
Mm.
And if that was all that had been said, which is the way they made it appear, I'm like, well, okay, it is what it is. You are. But now knowing that after the fact, then you kind of watch it back and you're like, okay, I kind of see this now and I understand it a lot more than I had before. At least I personally didn't, because it was like, you're the biggest threat and you're getting mad that they're voting you out, whatever. The thing that made me kind of lose my, and again, I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. A more interesting podcast is when people disagree, not when they agree. When she tried to make the case, and maybe this is what inspired him making the girl comment, actually, that she and Joe had both won 3 challenges. Why would you not try to take him out instead of me? And beyond the fact that he would say, well, I've had an alliance with Joe since the very beginning, he would also say, like, I also know no one's voting for Joe.
He should have said that. No one's voting for this guy.
Everyone watches like going, well, Joe's not getting the vote. That's why we know you're going to get, we don't know if you can win, but we know you might get votes. And then who knows who's up in the air? Because I think we've all read articles since then, and everyone who's talked about, they actually talk about the middle people not knowing where Devins, Christian, and Emily we're gonna land. Even though I think it's funny, it's like, really? You guys really think there's a chance they were going to vote for Jonathan? You got your mind?
Well, I think that Jonathan was making his point really well. Jonathan and his little cheerleading squad, of course.
Well, yeah, we'll get there.
And it's difficult too, because the edit that we see is that Jonathan is the all-American hero. This big, strong guy looking out for his people, getting them food, taking care of them. Basically the bullshit that Stephanie tried to sell us. But realistically, he talks about how he changed his game. He came back, he changed his game. He really didn't. He didn't change his game. He just came in with a pre-alliance. He came in with a pre-packaged safety net. And then when he had the opportunity to change his game, like, I don't know, bring in a variation of people, have a side alliance, play 2 alliances secretly, anything. He really did it. He played the same game. He's just, instead of playing the game with people that didn't reach taller than 5'4", he had to now play a game with other people that were physically as good at challenges as he was sometimes.
Yeah.
And he had one opportunity, like you just said, Scott, to say, "Are you kidding me? There's no way Joe's going to win." Like, he's obviously not going to win. You could take votes for me. Joe is not going to. He could have honored Tiffany with that reality. But instead, he uses the girl comment, which is so Jonathan, because he's misogynist. He always talks down to the women. Yes, when he and Suri fell in the hammock, of course he said, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" But that doesn't make him not a misogynist. Like,
Absolutely.
and that's where Jonathan loses votes, because even though he is likable on screen, if you remove those parts of him, once you see those parts of him, his game might be great, but his social game still kind of sucked a little bit. Enough to not get the votes over somebody like Aubrey.
Right. I'll agree with most of that. I mean, obviously, we've said from the get-go on this podcast and before, I'm not a fan of Jonathan, and the things you just mentioned are among the major reasons. The misogyny, which we saw so much, and especially in Survivor 42. I will. I can't keep all season being put in this pro Jonathan position. It's really weird because I really don't like the guy.
I
But
love when you have to be uncomfortable to make a point.
I
Go
will
for it.
push back a little bit on, say, I mean, if you want to go to the old, at the end of the day, when we see through stuff, it's edited out, we find out after the fact, or we do see glimpses of it here and there. He's still a misogynistic asshole more often than not. Yes, got it. Absolutely. We're not going to get into the other stuff he's done professionally in his life because that's not part of what this conversation is.
Right.
However, I would push back on saying that his game didn't change from the way he played last time. I don't recall seeing Jonathan doing anything that even remotely resembled, strategizing of any kind in Survivor 42, except for the most brutally simplistic, this and telling people who all just simply ignored him, didn't really even pay him any fucking attention as far as where to go. He was more, if not, and he may not have led the charge the way he seems to believe, or some people seem to believe, but he was certainly more instrumental in doing things this time around than he ever was last time. Especially, I mean, look at the very first person who got put on the jury. He may have more to do with than anyone else did, and I wasn't a fan of hers either, though I would take her 1,000 times over him any day of the week. So I just, again, I don't love the guy, but I'm not going to say it's the same guy we saw back in 42. Yeah, obviously the major difference is you came into this with the Zoom alliance that you didn't have before, and we see how that held true right to the very end, which was kind of and it became kind of a disgusting display during the fucking final tribal. But he did have there was a case for him to make. There was a reason people were worried.
He painted his resume just fine. His second half of the game, I'm not gonna diss too much. But his first half of the game was kind of a mess. It really wasn't all that. It's when he lost the Zoom alliance, maybe, that when he actually did have to talk to other people outside of it that weren't cut from the same cloth, as it were.
Oh, you're right.
Maybe he changed his game a bit then for the better. But it's more impressive than what we got from Joe. But the point is, I can see very easily why with the edit we saw one thing compared to what they saw.
I get you. And if he had that conversation with Tiffany privately, then yes, he should say that about Joe. But he's not going to fucking throw Joe under the bus like that in front of Joe and everybody else.
No, he's not.
I've never seen a player ever do that. Except let's talk about someone being stabbed in the back with a boat. Like,
I don't know if I would have been like, "Oh, that's terrible."
Once upon a time.
I don't know if I would have thought that was terrible, or if I would have been like,
it would have been hysterical. It would have been great.
I think I'm going to have to give him some snaps for that.
Would have been great TV, definitely.
I'm going to be Aubrey and play the middle real quick. And then I'm sorry, Tiffany. I want to say this real quick. I I give Jonathan credit in that he collaborated in a way he never has before. The problem I saw with Jonathan, especially highlighting the fact that what he said to Tiffany was cut out, is that his jury management sucked, and that's
There
why
you
he
go.
lost
yeah.
the game.
Oh.
And that's like,
Sure.
and I could imagine some of the people sitting on the bench that had thought that were giving him a real chance to win and were watching him when they heard that went, oh, same Jonathan. Nope,
Yep,
not
there
giving
it
him the
is.
benefit of
Yep,
the doubt
there it
anymore.
is.
Same,
Yeah,
same
there you
guy.
go. There you go.
It's funny. Then Tiffany, I'll let you go right after me here. It's funny. Ozzy fucks up by thinking too much of jury management at the wrong time and basically pretty much cost himself. This fucker was not thinking jury management at all, to the point where it's like, well, yeah, you got your Zoom lines, but these three, your Zoom lines, those people, are they people who you think can? Because a lot of this is people working each other at Ponderosa.
Mm-hmm.
People. That's what I've heard. I've read about it all the time. People are campaigning for other people all the time at fucking Ponderosa. Is
I mean, there
Chrissy
are
is
literally
Chrissy, Coach,
people.
or Stephanie gonna do?
No,
Is those three? Do you think they could ever say anything that would impact any of the other people who are at Ponderosa based on that jury?
no,
No,
Yeah,
no,
no.
absolutely
And
not.
there are people that have cut their closest friend in the game because they knew what they could do to move the jury.
Yeah, we've had some of the most infamous things have happened that way.
Yeah.
Hey, just ask Charlie. Anyway, or Jesse for that matter. No,
Oh,
oh wait,
yeah.
that wasn't a jury thing. But you thought kind. All right.
Tiffany, you were going to weigh in.
Yeah, sorry, Tiffany. I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
No.
I mean, you guys have basically said everything. I do not like Jonathan, obviously, but I will say that the coaching he received from
Yes. The
the
great
Zoom Alliance,
Rob.
yeah, Rob and the Zoom Alliance and all that or whatever, you can tell. Like I did see a difference in his game from his first season, and I did not know about what he had said at the final tribal to Tiffany. I didn't know that. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now, and I don't know why did they cut that out? Like, what are we
Because it was
doing
going to
here?
look bad against their boy. I mean, like this.
Yeah.
I mean, really, he's just every season. Maybe not every season, but most seasons, there's somebody that production is like, this is our guy. This is him, and then they just throw all their eggs in that basket. And they tried to do the same thing with him in his first season, but then someone like Marianne was there and they quickly realized like, oh, wait, wrong basket.
I think I think look. People who watch the show or people who are on the show, we learned that in all the tribals and especially the final one, there is a lot that has to be cut out. When we see tribals that go on, they're only taking like 7 to 10 minutes. That's not how long they
they're
actually are.
hours.
Yeah.
They're
Sometimes it can be
hours long.
hours. And at this point, especially with that, it's I don't know if it's irony, but the truth of it is, I'll put aside that's our boy kind of a thing. I'm not going to get into that thing because at the end of the day, the guy doesn't come close to winning. It is all, but it's the finale. You leave that in, all of a sudden, this becomes a big fucking hotspot controversy thing that they don't need they don't want to have. They've dealt with enough of that on this show and CBS entirely. The same week that Colbert is leaving the next night. And by the way, I just I have time. Okay.
I've set it to record.
I don't have cable anymore, so I can't do that. So but I want to watch it live streaming on things. So I got an hour. I'm good. I think that's really, I think they just wanted to avoid a possible kind of hotspot controversy kind of thing without realizing, but by doing that, you end up making someone else just look bad.
Yeah.
So I think they went with what they believe to be the lesser of two evils, even though
route.
I think they should. I would obviously. I think we all can agree. I'll leave it in because then show the guy for his true colors.
I mean, this is supposed to mirror society, right? Like,
put it in there.
I think it's important in there. Do you think that, I mean, clearly there's probably talk about these decisions, as they're making them, but do you think it's ever like, you know what? Like, let's leave this for the after show. Let's leave this for the social media of it down the road. I mean, because here we are talking about it way more than we probably would have talked about it if it was in the show.
Possibly.
Or it's
some,
just easier to make it look like, Tiffany is just another one of those angry Black women that can't,
And he is the all-American hero, so.
Yeah, I mean.
I'm used to dealing with Tiffany's who are angry Black women, so there you go.
I mean, maybe they would have shown it if somebody like Charlie had said it.
Interesting.
Maybe it would have changed.
Can I switch the? Can I change up the conversation just a little bit?
Let's do it.
But stick with Tiffany. My curiosity is this: because we were talking about hypotheticals before. So if things are worked out a slightly different way, although I still can't figure out a way we get rid of one of the guys at this point. But if Tiffany and Aubrey are in the final, Aubrey still win?
I think then it comes down to the argument.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does it go?
Also because Tiffany was one of Aubrey's big supporters in the jury, as we know. We saw it happen live there.
Yeah.
But now you don't have that. Who's Siri now?
Who's Siri gonna exactly?
Siri's going for Tiffany.
See, I don't know if that's true.
I think Siri's going for Tiffany.
I think she might. I don't know. I'm torn.
I think Siri is going for Tiffany.
I think she would. I think she goes for Aubrey, and here's why. I think she knows Aubrey was instrumental to getting her out, and they're close
getting Siri out,
to getting her out. And I think there's a thing amongst the old school players that if you get me out playing the game and it's the right way, that like you honor that with their vote if they continue to play a good
because
game.
You want the best to have been the one who cut you, not the second place.
Yes. So I think I'm not saying it's 100%, but I'd say there's a 60% chance Siri goes Aubrey.
Yeah. This is one that I really would love to ask her, like what would be the winning argument for her between these two women? Like, who would it be? Because I absolutely see the survivor part of it, but I see the world part of it with her and Tiffany too.
I was about to say, the world part of it, I promise you, is going to win out. She's going to go for Tiffany. Ozzy may go for Aubrey. I think that's where they split. Ozzy would go for Aubrey. But
I think Rizzo might too.
Yeah. But Siri's voting for Tiffany. I think Aubrey wins, to be honest, in that whatever. But I think
Aubrey was the key to win. Tiffany was not wrong when she was like, she's the one you need to be looking out for.
Absolutely.
And if we're honest, like if Tiffany wins that puzzle piece, depending on how it goes, who the other person sitting there it may determine who won between Tiffany and Aubrey.
Right.
If it ends up not like say Rizzo convinces them to cut Joe, like if it's Rizzo and them, I don't think Rizzo gets a vote. If it's Jonathan and them and you get the Zoom alliance, there could be somebody that say, Tiffany played a good game, but Jonathan played a little bit better game than her. But I think Aubrey played the best game of all. But there are people that could take a vote or two away from Tiffany. So I think it'd be a hard path for her to still get over the hump with Aubrey.
She needed Aubrey to go to win. Yeah.
I think that Aubrey would have won over Tiffany, but I think that Siri would have voted for Tiffany.
Yeah. That's why I said I can see the argument for both things. But after watching that woman for 100 days in a house with annoying people on a live feed, I feel that all of the arguments for keeping Aubrey are there, but I think that the world makes the decision for Suri in that situation.
Absolutely. Look, let me tell you something. I'll say it. Black people, we're not fucking around this time. We're not. We're going to go black.
Yeah.
Especially knowing that Aubrey's probably going to win anyway. If I'm Suri, I'm not going to not.
That's a good point. That's another really good point. If she sees that the numbers are landing on Aubrey either way, I mean, it would,
whatever. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, I'm voting. I'm gonna vote. I mean, unless it was like cute. then-
Here's
yeah.
what I
Unless it was cute.
the other reason I think you're wrong is if we're talking about the third person being Jonathan, then she's already aware that Jonathan has at least 3 votes there, and she can't be sure about anyone
yeah,
else.
that makes it.
So
Then we're in the
if you think
Rizzo
Aubrey is the more
bonus.
likely person, then you vote for the person because then it becomes down to, do you want to and you might end up wasting a fucking vote on Tiffany when Aubrey's already likely to get more than she is,
in order to avoid
and Jonathan
winning.
can squick out the win. Siri is very smart and very calculating, and she does the best. And the way
want someone to ask her
she
this,
defended and spoke, probably more so than anyone, including Tiffany, Aubrey's fucking game is that, plus the fact that how long they've fucking known each other. I think all those things feed into her voting for Aubrey. I think
Siri's not going back to the Black community and did not give Tiffany 1 vote.
I'm sorry. Has Tiffany has Siri never voted out someone Black on the show?
No, I'm not saying that or whatever. But we are in 2026,
and she's her alliance member.
Like, come on, nah.
She is her alliance member.
No,
I don't know.
But
I guarantee you that she has been asked this question.
I would love, I would love.
We got to dig through the interviews and find it and see what she has to say. It's in the spirit of the who does this person vote for. I mean, we go back to the Rizzo thing where he, had thought about wanted to give that vote to Joe, but then I realized if I give that vote to Joe, then that means that Jonathan will win over Aubrey because he went in knowing the discussions that were had in Ponderosa, and who was kind of gonna vote which way unless someone changed their mind. And then while he was there, he did make the decision, like, I can't give my vote to Joe because he didn't want him to have 0 votes.
Oh, so I didn't read anything. I just watched it today.
You just watched it tonight. So he was going to give Joe a vote as to not leave him at 0 votes.
Yep.
But after hearing the arguments and seeing how close everything was, he didn't want to risk it and gave it to Aubrey.
Right.
So can we just pause for a moment and just recognize that if Joe ever plays again, everybody and their mother is going to bring Joe to the final 3.
Joe needs to go back in and he needs to lie his ass off. He will win this game. He just needs to lie his ass off because everyone's be like, that guy can't lie.
He's not going to do it. Like, my God, has there ever been a better person to have sitting next to you? He
Once
can't
in a while,
explain himself.
We get a good one.
Do shit. Oh my God. Take him
Joe.
every time.
I'm going to say this until it happens. He needs to get on Amazing Race. He will kill it. He will be so good on Amazing Race.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, by the way, before we move on, get back to the episode because I don't want to run out of time here. Who do you think Siri said she thought was the best player in this season?
Devins.
Herself and Aubrey second.
Devins.
Oh, Devins. Yeah, I think that's true.
Absolutely.
I think Devins is the only one that would have pulled votes from her to final anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to find.
She's sitting there.
I was trying to find the article because I read one article where each person had their picks, and I found a different one instead, a different Entertainment Weekly one. And at the end, like, who do you think played the best game? And I was going through all of them, and they kept Siri. And of course, and right after Rick says, "Siri, who are you kidding?" Then might have been Siri, Devins, and she goes on. But plus, he was a hoot to hang around with. So.
He probably was.
Whereas some of these people, not so much fun to hang out with.
I wish that I could tell you who said it because it's very quotable, but it's again, people need to recognize, viewers need to recognize the importance of wanting to like the person you're giving $1 million to.
Yes, that's true. That's very true. My only problem with that, not specifically, but have you noticed, and it happened this time around, and it's really annoying me. Perhaps it's more of a social media thing than anything else. In fact, it is, because that's where you're seeing it. I don't like when people trot out words and phrases that used to have a meaning, that used to be true, and now you're using it to cover anything you don't like. kind of like when people would insult a TV show by saying, "Oh, it's all filler." It's like going, "I don't think you know what that word means in this context because it's not that episode was not filler. I don't know what you're talking about." Now, what they're doing with juries, they keep referring to, "Oh, it's another bitter jury. Oh, it's another bitter jury." It's like going,
Not at all, yeah.
I didn't. I mean,
This was not a bitter
you can
jury.
say it was a biased jury, but that's okay.
Definitely.
Because guess what? Every jury, to some extent, is going to have some bias. The only difference with this one is, number one, we knew of something that had occurred before the show started, which was kind of, although to be slightly fair, when you do shows with returning players, many times most of the returning players know each other. They convention, whatever. This just became a bigger thing, and
Yeah.
and then the way those two acted, which is like,
But again, with the jury management, these people had that, and then just talked about it openly in front of other people, so people then knew it was happening. It was bad jury management from the start.
Awful.
Okay,
Okay,
wait, I'm sorry. You got
Mhm.
so when did people find out about this Zoom alliance? Was it during Ponderosa? Like, were they stupidly talking about
I
it?
don't know. I have
Pre-game.
never heard if people did people who are on the show, were they aware of that already?
I
Yes.
think
Or did they
so,
find out
because
after the
Jonathan had talked about how he had gotten a letter from Rob and that he had opened
yeah.
it on the airplane, and
That's
Rob had been coaching him, and
there's
I
not
mean, I
by the
think
way,
there was
there's
some of
literally
that.
nothing wrong with that.
No,
I have no issue with that
but I
whatsoever.
think that I think as many people have said who have played this game, the things like secret idols or keeping secrets or secret alliances is incredibly difficult to do in this game because there's so much boring downtime where you don't want to exert any calories and people are just laying in the sand and start talking. And eventually you start looking for something interesting to talk about. And then these secrets start coming out. So I would assume, just by that very basic concept, that's probably where it started to leak throughout the group if they didn't know already going in.
What's interesting?
There were the news of it was flowing around Survivor World in anticipation of the season. It was already out there.
Right. But
And then they got to the island, and in pregame, like they were all hanging out together and talking, and what was a rumor
Confirming the rumor.
And so people knew like there was some truth to it.
Yeah, but my only problem with some of this is, isn't this not really different than the stuff that came out after the previous season when the girl who collects her snots or boogers or whatever the fuck it was, or her zits or stuff,
Sage.
was talking about there being people who, because you're not really supposed to interact in a certain way supposedly before the game actually starts, even though you're all kind of kept together, but a few people became friendly or friends beforehand.
Yeah, you are not allowed to talk
so therefore
to each
there was
other.
an alliance ahead of time. So, and I had thought, well, you can't really police that if you're doing an all-star returning place, because everybody can or potentially might already know each other from any number of Survivor events. The only person who wouldn't have that opportunity would be Rizzo and Savannah, because they were going right from one season to the next. But there wouldn't be anything that unusual about, say Chrissy and Coach knowing each other or talking or whatever, or Stephanie or whatever.
They're all in the circuit. Yeah, they're all in the circuit. They do, the fan events together.
So it's one of those things where it's one of those, depending how you look at it, is it insidious or is it innocent or is it somewhere in between? Is there anything technically wrong with it? I mean, it's not like Siri and Ozzy didn't know each other for the last 20 years. It's not like they never spoke to each other before they got on that island.
You know what's
Ozzy and Mike White had a fucking thing that they talked about before they were there. So it's
here's the thing.
It does come off really bad.
It's kind of weird, and I can't exactly explain why. But in the world of Survivor, it's allowed. And in the world of Big Brother, it's a massive sin.
Right.
And a lot of that has to do with who's putting alliances together. In Big Brother, you have one player who makes an alliance, and that's kind of what was happening with Survivor. And I think that's where, as a fan, it kind of sucks because you don't get an alliance that naturally is organic and comes together. It's like this pre-packaged deal, and that, I don't know, that makes us lose something in the process. But is it wrong necessarily? No. I mean, not in something where they all know each other.
And that by the end, it hurt him. So
absolutely did. Absolutely did.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, but before we get there, keep jumping around.
Before we get anywhere.
So now we're at the point in the actual show that we're going through here. We're at the final four. We have not at this point. We have not been told what the final challenge is going to be, and we have not been told whether there'll be a fire making challenge or not. And you can already tell some people are starting to get antsy about the possibility of having to make fire. And of course, the natural voice in our head going, "Then why aren't you practicing?" But let's get to the final four. I don't like. We've had this conversation before. Final four challenge. It's a Survivor Classic, a Samotion challenge. I believe it's what we predicted was going to be the case.
Yeah, I called that from a mile away. Yeah. God forbid we do something different, but okay, yes.
I like that challenge.
I love the Samotion
challenge.
Yeah, I have no.
It is an equalizer. I will give it that. It absolutely is an equalizer, and it's a much more fair, balanced challenge than something in Survivor where it's like 100%, like torture.
Right. You want well, here's the thing with the doing it because I know the things that were mentioned. Like I said, this type of challenge. I don't remember if this is what you said or not. I know one of you wanted the endurance challenge kind of thing, whatever. I think the endurance challenge is more interesting in the old 39-day format because you've been there that much longer and you're that much weaker. So it's that much more difficult. Now it's like, oh, it's day 24. The only one who's losing weight is Rizzo for some reason. But I don't know what's wrong.
Well, it's because apparently he's a very picky eater and refuses
because
to eat
Jonathan
coconut.
eats rice out of the jar again.
It's like his dirty hands and his dirty tongue. Anyway, okay. So this is the challenge for the people listening. We do have listeners, where you have one hand literally tied behind your back and you're tracking an increasing number of balls, speedily rolling through an elaborate series of curving tracks. And you got to catch them before they pop out of one or two exits. And you're constantly reloading the doohickey while trying to time everything down to the second. Jonathan's out first, then Rizzo. It's between Aubrey and Joe. But I got to say, you can tell from Audrey's determination and the way she's counting left, right, as she times each ball's trajectory, she's going to win, and she does. And she collapses in a sea of celebratory tears. At this point, and I feel it might be the moot question I'm going to ask on this podcast, at this point, did anyone have any doubt that, number one, she was going to take Joe, and number two, unless the unthinkable happens, she's winning?
So,
no.
Yeah, I knew, of course, you're going to take Joe because who would not take Joe at this point? And, well, even so, okay. I thought at this point still, yes, until final tribal and hearing.
Right.
Okay.
I'm saying as she's being given the necklace. I'm not talking about once we get to tribal.
Okay.
People start using the words.
She's gonna win.
That's different because then I felt the little prickly feeling of fear myself there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was like going, oh no.
Yeah. But she's obviously a shoo-in. Like
another podcaster and I might have traded texts where we just said Audrey just won Survivor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's 150. She's got it. I would also like to mention, I did not mention this on the other podcast. I think one of the most beautiful moments of the entire season, and we had a lot of good moments with great fun, but one of the most beautiful moments of this season was when we got the slow motion shot of them playing Samotion, and then they cranked up the volume on the click clack sound of it going around that track and then timed it with the music. Amazing. Yeah. Amazing 5 seconds. One of the best 5 seconds of the season, if you give a crap about that kind of thing, which I do. It was really great. Bring more of that, please. We need more of that.
With the ocean in the background. It was awesome.
It reminds me of how much I love they do that thing. Now they've done it a couple times, maybe over the course of this season. I think they did it last season, but I know that where something's happening at tribal, and all of a sudden you just focus on someone and you realize you're not hearing what they're saying. You're just so zoning focus on, and they just realize, as you see Joe is talking. So Joe's not going to say anything important. We can just do.
Yeah, so good.
But that I love that, and I loved when she's given a necklace, and I think she says something, she's so, in her emotions, because I don't have any words. And I thought,
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. I love that more than, I don't need,
She knew it too. She knew she wanted.
we're gonna hear your words pretty soon enough.
Mhm,
I love
mhm.
it. In this moment, we didn't.
Yeah, that was great.
So now we got the practicing fire stuff. And we see that Jonathan can start fires faster than Charlie McGee. And anyone who needs to be told who Charlie McGee is, I'll tell you later. Riz, on the other hand, seems to be worse than Siri Fields in this department.
Oh, come on, Riz Kid.
And
Yeah,
while
it was bad.
while he has not been as weepy this season as he was in Survivor 49, he does break down during his confessional. And probably one of his most interesting lines about himself was, "How can you be so good and so bad at the same time?" And
Love that.
when he said that, I went, "I wish I knew, Riz." And I realized,
So
oh wait, he's talking about you, not me. I mean, me, not you. I'm so confused. Anyway, Tiffany.
I love it.
So I wrote down it's Rizzo's dumbass fault for not really practicing fire. And I said that's indicative of the new my handwriting. Generation. They have no critical thinking and no problem solving fucking skills
Hey,
that they
don't
would
Yeah.
not have fucking practice. Now I get that you don't want to do all the work, what?
No, keep going. I'm waiting.
Oh.
I'm about to have
I
some
get
fun.
you don't want to be the workhorse and you don't want to catch the food and do all that shit and you don't have to do all that, this new Survivor generation. But fucking learn how to make fire. Like that's and your ass. Okay, and I get he just came from whatever, season 49 or whatever. But my God, you're there for 24 days. You don't fucking try. You don't fucking sit down and say, "Hey, I
No,
fucking
I should
lost
have
the
said
last
Scott.
time because I didn't make fire." Let my ass at least make fire. I don't have to fish. I don't have to grab a coconut. I don't have to do any of that other shit. Let me make fire. You
Give me a
dumbass.
job to do. Give me a job to do. And you know what? I bet that Scott's probably chomping at the bit to say this too.
No, you don't know what I'm going to say.
Riz did say when he cut Sari, I learned from the very best. And that woman, God bless her, has never been able to make a fire.
She hasn't, but she's still, but that's Sari.
See,
Okay.
I might have a recording of someone from a phone conversation while watching Survivor Australia versus the World. And you know what? If you just replace the words Rizzo with Sari, it's eerily similar.
Right, the same.
You
The
literally
same
said
rant.
you literally said almost the exact same thing about
The same one, yeah.
the great legendary Sari Fields.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah.
The reason why I said then don't say it's about the new fucking era. Just slam them.
Well, I mean, Riz
series didn't fucking practice
Okay.
either.
Well,
maybe
yeah.
that's why. Maybe that is the bond. Maybe that's the thing that made Riz and Sari see each other. I don't do fire, girl. Me either. Best friends.
Because neither of them learned from Bruce Springsteen that you can't start a fire without a spark. See, that's the problem. If they
You need to rock that baby.
Look, and I think it's time to say, for whatever you want to say about Joe, I really like that he got this
That was
moment
a
helping
nice,
Rizzo.
yes.
I loved it.
Well, you have to realize that Joe, who is ever the White Knight, he's always going to be there for someone with special needs. I mean, someone in need. Excuse me. Did I say? So of course he's going to show Rizzo.
Oh, Joe.
I need to get that line in.
Scott, you've been wanting.
Oh my God.
Sitting on that like a little egg.
We only have one podcast left here, Tiffany.
But did
and the only R word I've used is Rizzo.
Did you see Jonathan stink-eyeing Joe and Rizzo?
I saw that.
Oh my God, I loved it so much.
I
Maybe
was
that's part of why I loved it so much.
I wanted there. In fact, I wonder if there was one, and maybe it got cut out because to make him look better. I wanted there to be a moment with Jonathan going like, "Hey man, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Why are you helping that little bitch, Joe?"
Mr. Joe, listen, Mr. Joe.
Oh my God.
Okay. For all the shit given to Joe, Brian is right. That was a really good moment because you want to know what? As I have said before, that right there is why Joe got cast.
Yeah,
it's that.
And that's
right
why
there.
that's why Joe does actually have fans, because
And it's
shit like that.
also
You're right. Yeah, I get it.
why he will do great when he gets his chance on Amazing Race.
Yes.
He's an amazing
Those are the kind
partner.
of shows someone like that should be on.
Yeah, he's a great partner. He's a two-man team, that one.
Yeah.
The most treachery you do in Amazing Race is like, he's a detour or whatever, that thing when you block the whatever.
U-turn.
And maybe he wouldn't do that. I don't know. Okay, so all right, let's get this. We had the tribal. Rizzo is quite eloquent about what happened back in Survivor 49, and after Aubrey has revealed to all that she's taking Joe, we get, he's hoping this is going to be his redemption, or as Jeff subsequently puts it, is either redemption or the reckoning here. Then we cut away, but instead of going to commercial, which is what it makes it feel like, we cut back to the live show. And here's the twist that nobody saw coming. So, by the way, congratulations, Survivor. I mean, the twistiest twist of all is this one. But you know what? I'm going to do a twist myself. Hey, Jamie.
What's up, Scott?
You're the Survivor pro here among us M's. Could you please try to tell us what happened when we cut away and back to the live show? It doesn't need to be blow by blow if you don't have that down.
First of all, I'm going to tell you what happened.
Probably remember it really fucking well.
I'm going to tell you.
Our texts were going on during this because I believe there was a what the fuck.
I'm going to tell you what happened. We got TV gold, is what happened.
Oh my
God. Seriously, I don't have to watch Jonathan win this fire with all the anticipation and the stress of it. Great, thank you. But seriously, he brings Rizzo out, right? And I don't know about you guys, but I felt like something was off right from the beginning.
I already didn't understand it. If he brought out Rizzo and Jonathan, then I would have understood.
Yes.
I was like, why is he bringing just Rizzo out?
Something's weird. And then Rizzo kept doing a thing with his mouth. It's kind of like a dog when they get nervous and they yawn a lot. Like Rizzo was doing weird things with his mouth. And I was like, why is this kid nervous right now? What is happening? Something feels wrong. And then he says something about Rizzo losing a challenge and at the fire challenge and setting him down. And the crowd is like, what? And he goes, what's happened? Wait, what's happening? And a crowd of thousands of people are literally yelling at him like it's The Price is Right.
Do you know who told him? And it's audible. Cerise says, we haven't seen the fire challenge yet, Jeff.
I love it so much.
Jeff's totally bewildered, which made me think, oh, I see someone else pre-games before they start recording.
He had just gotten done doing that bit with the Corona, and Brian messages me. He's like, do you think he took one drink of that? I was like, dude, I think he drank all of Cerise's cooler of Corona is what's happened. Amazing. I'm so happy I was there to see it live. Not since the Oscars.
Oscars. That's exactly what I was thinking.
I felt that.
Not since La La Land moon.
It's amazing. Did I just see this?
What just happened?
But do you think in future, like when this goes in the library on Paramount Plus, do you think they edit this?
They didn't edit it overnight for like the West Coast viewing or today's viewing, from what I've heard.
It happened that way for you today, didn't it, Tiffany? You saw the way it went down last night?
Yes, but I didn't watch it on Paramount. I watched it on my DVR.
Okay. Yeah, well, I don't think that they've gotten rid of it, and I don't know how they could.
I think there's too many references made to it subsequently throughout the show.
I mean, to be fair,
we've
talked about this, about Jeff. We've all talked about Jeff's pros and cons as a host. When Jeff shakes down that whole like thing where he tries to be like so confident and cocky, when Jeff is just Jeff, like, you remember why you liked him as a host in the early days? Because he made jokes, he made fun of himself. So good job. I mean, I don't know what else he could have done in that situation, but at least he was able to very quickly turn it into a joke and be like a real human and not a weird robot. So
yeah,
he did not Julie Chen this. That's what I'm saying.
She's the fucking worst, man.
The worst.
That's why I don't watch Big Brother as much. I can't take her.
She does not have the gift that Jeff does
The fact
in that situation.
she actually refers to Big Brother in the ads for it as a guilty pleasure. Don't set your show up that way. Don't make people feel like they might have any shame.
That's what happens when you're the Chen bot. I'm just saying.
Okay, so thanks to Jeff's reveal, we already know it's no contest because we already know what happened. Riz really can't ever get anything going with his fire. Jonathan wins, and that's your final three: Jonathan, Joe, and Aubrey. And I win. Yay! Next morning, when we typically get the final three, breakfast or brunch or whatever you want to call it, we actually get a loved one showing up for each one of them. We get Joe's wife, who's quite tall, Aubrey's mom, who isn't, and Jonathan's brother, who inexplicably is dressed like Super Mario. So,
yes, thank you. Thank you for being aware of that, as was I.
I mean, it was clearly done on purpose. I like it. I wanted to say, I didn't hear what his brother's name was, but I wanted to go like, it's a me, and then whatever his name is. Because I'm sure it's not Mario. After that,
it was very when he jumped out of the boat. I heard. Dun, 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 dun.
It was funny because he jumped off a sea turtle. It was crazy, and then he got Miss Evans' coin.
It was iconic.
Oh my Lord! After that, we get this montage of the players talking about themselves, and at least two of the jurors talking about each one of them, as if they might even be considering giving them their vote if they can be convinced of tribal council. So let's get to the final tribal. Okay, so we get the final tribal. The coach starts things off, he starts asking the players about whether they had to compromise a core value of theirs in the outside world in the game.
Good question.
For coach, considering what coach could have asked, that's actually not that's not that bad a question. And let's be honest right now, especially when we see what happens after this. As far as the Zoom alliance is concerned, he wasn't the embarrassing member of that alliance.
No, he wasn't. And that question I feel was absolutely spoon-fed to Joe.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
that was for Joe.
So, I mean, what does Joe do? I mean, Joe admits to lying, like, oh, man.
I know you had to play Survivor when you came out to Survivor, Joe. I'm very happy for you.
God, I had to pay attention to two of the three words in the mantra for this show. Aubrey, she had to put aside her concerns or fears about hurting people, which is interesting. It sounds very Genevieve-ish when she said that, actually. And then Jonathan talks about how he wants to try to play a different game with each individual in order to leverage the relationship, which I wasn't really clear on how that goes against what your core value is. I feel there's a number of times Jonathan doesn't.
He doesn't
really
like to work with other people.
He doesn't really answer the questions for a lot of the time.
He's an interesting cat in real life. I mean, he is actually kind of an interesting spread of things he does for a living. So when you ask him something like that, and then you try to compare it to who are they on the outside, it's a big question mark for him when this question's asked.
So I think Devon's goes next, and he's the one who asked them about, secrets. Whether there were secrets they felt they needed to keep during the game, or did they give away secrets? They all, it's a good thing. It's a good thing Emily didn't make the final three. Because it's like secrets. What are those? Like,
financial analysis.
So it's like, by the way, I'm on my period now. No, anyway. So you get Jonathan owning up to the whole situation with Stephanie, and allowing her to quote unquote fall on the sword that she had started the coup against Ozzy when actually it was him.
Stephanie, and she was like, "Oh my God, I knew, and I loved it. I loved every second of it. Please let me fall on your sword again."
Why does your
God damn it, Stephanie?
Your sword pulsates so much.
Oh God.
Your pink purple sword.
Oh God.
And we cut to the live feed, and Jonathan has a special award for Stephanie. This statue looks really suspicious.
It's something to wipe that stuff off her face.
Oh, she loves him so much.
Forever young.
Oh, good Lord.
I would eat his mango anytime. Anyway, Chris. Speaking of people in that camp, Chrissy also go, which is like, oh, I don't. Sorry, honey, I don't.
He's
click on
like,
that. I don't click on
bitch,
that
back
tab on
off. He's
Saturday.
mine.
Back off, Stephanie. He's mine.
That's the Pornhub category I don't go to, hun. Chris, Chrissy
Oh.
also, she has to feel the need to not ask a question, but just jump in, it's like kind of giving Jonathan major props for how his social game has improved, that and showing that because Stephanie allowed him to do that instead of outing him. Yeah, that's what
Come
that's what
on,
happens,
guys.
idiots. Now, as we get back to Sanity Land for a moment, Aubrey does talk about how she had to find currency in the game because she would, she used secrets like currency, like she just said, and that's what gave her agency in the game. But she was able
Scott,
to use
I
those
was waiting
secrets.
for it. You said it. You
Had to
said
say-
it.
had to say
Sorry.
agency.
I was
Had to
going to
say it.
ask if
No one
that
had to
was
say
the
it.
same as agency.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Couldn't go this entire podcast without saying agency. Finally, but she would do that, to where she had to with whomever she had to. And this sets up this little kind of back and forth, which is one of the things I think we were anticipating. And we would have anticipated if Rizzo had been there as well. But it was interesting that it was between her and Jonathan, which kind of made it a lot easier for me to who to root for, about who was truly responsible for the Aussie vote. And that's where Tiffany steps up.
Okay.
Tiffany steps up from, for the three. I missed the next game to talk to you guys. She wants to get, clarity from Joe. Who was it? Who was it who convinced you to vote for Ozzy? So Aubrey, Jonathan, and Joe. You see, he's kind of sheepish about it, but there's look, he can't lie. Yeah. And Joe admits it was Aubrey.
It was so good. It was so good. It tied in. I was spending this whole final kind of pissed. Like, why even show us this whole storyline about Joe and Tiffany working together if nothing's going to come from it? Who gives a shit? This was it. That's right there. That moment right there. She knew who to ask. And the Neville Longbottom of the trio was going to have to do the right thing and tell the truth.
And that admission, I think, becomes one of the key things in the overall tribal council. Because she already like, oh, you don't think I'm doing anything? I'm the one who actually was the person more responsible for taking this person out, who ends up voting for her as well, by the way. So, but what follows this? After that really cool moment, then we get what I'm going to say, at least in the last several years. You have to go back to some of the sexual harassment crap that happened, or the psycho Henson guy, whatever his name is.
Tough times.
Stephanie gets up to ask a question, but she never really asks any kind of a question. She just starts glazing and glazing and glazing, swallowing, licking, tickling, and maybe sticking a thumb somewhere, maybe both somewheres there. She can't stop talking about Jonathan and his total package.
Well, what we call that, Scott, is wearing her fuck me heels. She slid those babies right on.
Oh, but she just goes on and on about the fact she talks about him like he's bridging the old era and the new era. It's like because he made a Zoom alliance with a bunch of the old era people. Good.
It's the cloth. It's the cloth of it.
But he's playing with an old school heart. Because he's got the survivor skills and does the. Meanwhile, I gotta say,
it's a nice write-up.
I think I have changed my mind about Dee since she was on the jury than I ever did when she was in the game, because I was always been kind of not the biggest Dee fan, even though I will say she had a good season. She was a very good winner when she won her season.
She got the best goddamn smile that they've ever had on that show.
I always thought she was a little bit overrated, but she was an I loved her taking, sticking a pin in Stephanie here, and just basically going along the lines of is there a question here? Aren't we supposed to? She just kind of punctures the whole fucking thing, and then after that, all of a sudden, then you've got Tiffany and Siri kind of diving in, and they're going, "Oh, this is where it's getting good." Fury and
This
Tiffany
is
tag teaming this.
this is how we know how robbed we have been without Ponderosa during
Oh my
the
God.
40s. Because, okay, Brian, let me tell you, okay, Brian is watched every single season of Survivor, but he didn't watch them live. So he missed out on the age of Ponderosa.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you could go in and you could watch videos of things that were happening in Ponderosa, a bit like Big Brother almost, where you were getting like little confessionals to the camera and watching them party and kind of like letting loose and seeing who they were when they're not in the game. And the conversations that came out of that were really something. So much, in fact, that we don't get to have Ponderosa anymore. But this jury would have ate Ponderosa up. Like, it would have been so good.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. And they probably wouldn't have wanted to show it because after this season, there's already drama. This cat, there is all kinds of
Yeah, this jury was divided.
So
yeah,
Really?
So getting back to what's going on here. So one of the great things, because when Stephanie said it, my ears kind of, as much as I was trying to tune out the absurdity of everything, when she was talking about bridging old school and new school and new era and all that kind of crap, I'm like going, oh, someone say it, and if there was ever the best person to say it, it's fucking Suri. Suri fucking steps in, and she's the one who points out that if anyone was doing that, it's Aubrey. Aubrey is the one who was jumping alliances all around town. She reversed her old school way to play a new era. I think she used the phrase fluid and flexible. And that's exactly the way Aubrey played her game. Like a survivor.
Oh, that whole comment of like,
so good.
You spent all this time trying to go after the middle people and you claim that as your big thing. But meanwhile, Aubrey is the middle person.
Literally.
and was sitting in the middle of the two of them at the trial,
Like,
Which was amazing. The fact that they had her
good.
sitting in the middle was like,
amazing.
It doesn't get any better than that. So then you have, I think it's when we get to Ozzy asking the question about about adaptation. And Joe looked like he was doing well with the question. He's kind of pointing out how he had to, change his approach and whatever. But now, you know what? People like Stephanie and Chrissy, they open a door with their shit. And I keep thinking, other people in this jury know what's happening here. Okay, then we're going to pimp our fucking person here. And who's the best person again to do that? It's fucking Suri, who she comes in and she goes like, and she brings up the whole babysitting Joe thing, the Joe-tation, I think.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That every single person. And
poor Joe. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I can't help but not have empathy for like how embarrassing that had to have been for him in that moment.
I think actually of all people, I think Emily actually even tries to almost feel sympathy for him.
She did.
Like, well, in a weird way, you kind of ended up controlling them because they always had to go through you. So one way or the other, you had to be in on things.
Oh, that hurt. I can't lie. That one made me
throwing the guy a bone because no one's voting for him. That's what she was doing.
Like
that was reaching, and God bless her for doing that.
I loved everything Suri said.
Oh, Suri was
except I wish she wouldn't have said that they laughed at him. Like I thought that was like he was already beating us down. And when she said that,
he was doing the thing where he covers his face. Yeah, like
he wasn't. I can't disagree because there are so many other people present on either side of that fire that I would have preferred getting smacked down like that at that point. Because Joe Murray, this guy's not getting a vote, and he helped him try to make a fight. Find a way to smack down Jonathan again, please, the arrogant motherfucker. But but
humble him, please. Thank you.
It was still kind of funny, just horrible funny.
It was funny.
What else we got here? Oh. Then this is when it starts to become more of a free for all because they're still going on about the adaptation stuff, and Jonathan kind of like questions it because they and then Ozzy kind of jumps in for Aubrey at that point, which is amazing. Like, oh shit, Ozzy's defending Aubrey right now.
This is like a schoolyard fight.
That was the thing, like, because I was kind of getting worried one way or the other, and after what Stephanie and Chrissy did, I kept going, oh, Jonathan's going to lose because of these two. Because every time they pull back, you see the people reacting to them talking. It's like, Oh no, these are you're not changing minds or hearts and minds here at all. In fact, or if you did, you're changing them in the wrong direction right now. But I'm trying to
I
think.
mean, let's put it this way: if you look and you're saying something, and you look across the room, and Christian Hubecki's going,
Right.
you done something wrong, friend. Like you're not, you know what I mean? Like, cause he was smiling every single time that Aubrey would talk, Christian is smiling. He and fairly, he even said, like, when Jonathan had said that he had, was explaining some of his moves, like, Christian was like, "Oh, okay, wow." Because he's very intelligent and can see the game. But he was beaming every time Aubrey would talk. And even when Joe would talk, it was more like, "Oh, sweet, sweet boy," you know? But when Jonathan, for the most part, was talking, it was he was for me like Sari might have owned the jury, right? And you might have had the loyal defenders on the side of Jonathan, but Christian is the gauge.
Oh
He's the
yeah.
gauge of the game. And I could see where it was going.
Well, the fact that Jonathan answers the adaptation thing in such a way is like that's your answer, that you're basically saying, I blindsided people now and I didn't do that before, so that was my way of adapting. Like,
So you played Survivor.
okay, yeah, so you actually played the game. Um, so basically, you since you can't really answer a question about adaptation, you're certainly not going to do very well with a question about self-awareness, because that's what Emily asks about. Aubrey, and she didn't even need to bother doing this because she already knows she's not getting Stephanie's vote clearly. So but I like it's almost kind of just like I don't I'm gonna deflect this question by say my, that she couldn't connect with Stephanie and that's on her or whatever. It's like, oh, and which kind of made Stephanie kind of happy to hear for some reason. At least Joe brought up the fact that his arguing with Devin made him look like a bonehead.
Yes.
It's like, yes. Yeah, and that's how. And by the way, the edit didn't probably help you any either, from what I understand.
No, but
Jonathan,
again, Joe
yeah,
does have some self-awareness. He
yeah,
does.
there's some. And I almost want to give Jonathan credit because it made me laugh that she asked a question about self-awareness, and then Jonathan instead uses this. He's a politician, motherfucker. He tries to just sneak in the fact he's taking ownership. That you remember those blindsides I just mentioned. So he says, I'm the one who blindsided Ozzy and Camilla and Dee and whatever. Then no one's buying it now. Christian then closes it out by asking them to talk about, he talks about storytelling and narrative.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is where they're gonna do their final little thing. I want to hear how they do this.
Yes.
Joe's was short and fairly sweet. It was fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Aubrey's kind of once Aubrey said what she said, I was already like, yeah, if there was any doubt before, you just laid out your Survivor career and what all the way leading up to what you did here and how you've changed and evolved as a person, both in life and due to the game and everything. I was like going, oh, it's so perfectly said. It was just, it wasn't too much. It wasn't too over the top. It didn't bank too heavily on the fact that she's been, there, but you can't not mention that. You can't not mention it. And yeah, your jury, there's a bunch of old time players there. But guess what? The new era players might respect that as well, depending who it is.
I mean, she even gave props to the people that have beaten her in the past. I mean, come on.
Who she learned from. And all Jonathan, his story, his legacy, whatever is that he prepared and did the homework for this season. And yeah, okay, that's your story
Which is good. Do your homework. You clearly know how to make fire, which is better than half of the people that sit up there, apparently. But that's not a story.
If they have a fire making only season of Survivor, he'll excel in that.
Then he'll get that. It's very interesting to me that we got that sprinkled throughout, especially the second half of the game, but a little bit in the first half. The what is your story?
Well, I as a person who's argued the juries, I've taught over and over, it's not the instructions, it's not guilt or innocence, it's the story of the case. And there are two competing stories in the courtroom. And when the jury goes back in the back, you want people arguing for your story. that's how we communicate. It's why we have movies and television. It's why there are radio plays. Like, story is how you tell effectively information. And Kristen's question was great, and Aubrey was the most prepared to tell her story. And I mean, we got nervous. I think Jonathan, in many ways, he probably gave like a B performance, but he needed an A+ to win. He gave a B performance, and I don't even know if that gets him there, but it gives him a chance. Like the thing I told Jamie, Rizzo might have been in play if somebody dazzled him at Final Tribal. Unless Suri smacked him again and said, "No, you're not.
Sit your ass down."
But Aubrey gave the best thing, and I think she just put the bow on her win right there.
And as we said before, I also think that the quote unquote the case being made for Jonathan by two of the people on the jury, I think hurt him more than helped him with the other members of that jury, because it didn't look like I said jokingly, but now I'm saying it seriously. Nothing Stephanie said helped him. It didn't. That was not a good look. It didn't help him.
Yeah, and
nor did Chrissy. And
I'm not going to pretend to like know all these people personally, but as an astute viewer of personality, Chrissy not so much. But Stephanie, and kind of the track record that she has, I know that some of those people in that jury will play nice and get along with her professionally, but I don't think that they care for her one bit.
No.
And you're going to just automatically biasly like not want to back up whatever horse she's backing, like you're right. I do think that hurt him. You'll see that Coach, for all the things we can say about Coach said what he said. He asked his question. It was an appropriate, it was a good question. And then he sat back and he let them defend their game. He let them play Survivor. Stephanie and Chrissy were not letting Jonathan play Survivor. They were trying to play Survivor for him.
Yeah.
Yes. If you throw the softball, you got to let the guy hit it. Like you can't hit it for him too.
Yeah. I mean, even Camilla, like you see somebody like Camilla, she backed up Kyle in that jury totally. But what she did was back up the moves he made and then stayed back. She didn't talk about how he was the most well-rounded Survivor player. She said, no, this was the moves he made when you were looking. I'm backing that up. That's different.
What's interesting is if those two had played it more similarly to the way Coach did,
it could have been a different result.
Suri and Tiffany also don't got to jump up and say much of anything. I mean, there might have been a moment or two they still would have said something, but it also wouldn't have been as contentious, which means it also wouldn't have been as much fun to watch. But but here, and I kept thinking, hey, who's the person who all season when they would say something, she was in control of things. People who are all going to go one way. Siri shows up and says something. The vote changes.
Yeah.
You think Siri's not having an impact on that jury as well? Especially when it becomes clear who she's going for here?
Yeah.
I mean, it had to be a factor. I'm not saying it was the only factor, of course not, because they're all intelligent enough to hear what's happening, but I think that helped Aubrey way more than those two twits did for fucking Jonathan.
Oh, absolutely.
So
we're correct here. Like, Siri and Tiffany and a few others did not get questions, right?
It felt like
there were a couple people who didn't, but that is normal. In the new era.
Well, what ends up happening is they kind of equate sometimes questions with talking, because some people, such as they did, and would jump in to say stuff and acknowledge stuff, so they never got around to a question. Stephanie stands up. She's supposed to ask a question, and she doesn't. She just goes on that long spiel. And I kept thinking if this was a courtroom, I was thinking, I kept waiting for is there, and that's why D kind of like, is there a question in here? Because there's no question. And that went on for I keep thinking it's actually like a half an hour long and it got edited down. It's like Pat and Oswald talking about geek stuff on Parks and Rec or something. What a weird reference that was. Anyway, so I think the amount of times well, because Tiffany can say, well, technically they say, well, Tiffany asked Joe that direct question to clarify, and that one question was like one of the most revelatory questions in the entire final tribal was, Joe, let's clarify who's the person who did it, who
Yeah.
convinced you.
Yep.
Aubrey. Okay, sorry, Jonathan. Guess what? You can't put on your stupid resume anymore. Whatever. And that was the big white whale you were
Big
trying to
one.
get. And
Mhm.
who's the one who actually was responsible for it? She was, not you. So fuck you and fuck all the social media idiots who keep saying it was you. It's not true. I should just
Huzzah.
let me finish up the actual recap here. They get to out in LA. We do get to the vote, and all of Jonathan's votes were clearly from the infamous cut from the same cloth. And I'm assuming that cloth is white with 2 black holes in it. Alliance. I'll say so, I was a little bit, I kept thinking there could be a slight possibility Coach might deviate, and I didn't that well. Then
Honor and integrity, Scott. God dang.
yeah, honor and integrity,
Hey now.
By the way, who shows the most honor and integrity in this game? Devins. And give Tiffany. I'll give Tiffany credit a little bit too. Oh yeah, then we find out about we finally get the whole reference to the reverse the curse thing here, because look, they're gonna give a car away again, and they give it to Aubrey, who then has to run 1,000 miles like she's
To
like
the parking lot.
I felt like she should suddenly all of a sudden she should be on the set of Severance, and she's just gonna be running through hallways for the next half
I do
hour.
have some information on that. That was given to me by Jack, and that is likely because it probably had gas in it and it could not be allowed on the stage. Because it had gas in it, it could not come out onto the stage.
I see. It's interesting because I keep thinking, they're in LA, which is the land of game shows. And if there's something I've seen on every game show I ever watch, it's the fact that they give away a new car. So on The Price is Right, it's right there and they go run over to it. On Let's Make a Deal, it's right there and they go run over to it. On Survivor, they have to run through everything.
But hey,
he's running through crop circles.
Kudos to them. Because they knew she was going to have to sprint a half a mile, but they filled that whole half a mile with jungle decor. They did not leave an inch uncovered.
And she's wearing such an appropriate outfit to be forced to have to run around in, so I appreciate it. I was like,
she looked like a mob boss with that dress and those glasses.
I was like, I didn't know she had those. Anyway, so then we get to this Siri fan vote. And by the way, it is did I call it the Siri fan vote? Because it was a Siri fan. Because Siri won. Look, as far as the overall thing for me personally, look, Tiffany brought it up at the very start. I had heard rumors that Aubrey was winning this from the get-go. I
didn't want to believe that because I didn't want to be spoiled. Nothing against Aubrey. I'm glad she won. I'm cool, but I didn't like the spoil.
I don't like people talking about the winner's edit so early in advance because it came about Aubrey. It just kind of, as I said to a former beloved Survivor contestant, I said it just when I read stuff like that. And by the way, it's 10 times out of 10, it's usually unintentional. It's just I'm scrolling through my regular Facebook feed and I see something.
Oh, suggestion for you. Spoiler.
Yeah, and I'm just like, it sucks the fun out of it for me, man. So I would prefer without that. But even so, the finale was fine. At least the jury was kind of fun as far as the whole warring with each other. So that kind of made it interesting because we've had a lot of boring kind of juries over the years, which we always look for something like, oh, come someone do something. And they're like, okay, they're going to be really nauseating. And then Tiffany and Siri go like, oh, this is going to be good. Oh, fight.
Yes. Which is exactly why we probably didn't get a full scale reunion with this cast.
Well, you guys said it already, and I can't help but agree that the format of this was ridiculous. They should have cut most of what they should have just had Jeff at the beginning, Jeff with who was the Tiffany? Had to be Tiffany, right? Because that's what in my recollection in the past, they'd have him at the opening, then they'd have him with the next person who was voted out, which was Tiffany. And then they would have him, I guess, after the fire thing. After with Rizzo. That's it. Yeah, I get. Oh, we're hanging out with Rick and Christian or Mike. It's like, hey, when you should be doing that? When they're all together at the end.
Yeah.
You got 24 people. you could have cut this in a way where you get to the reveal and you still got a good half hour, 40 minutes left. I want you to talk to every single person. I want to hear what Jenna has to say about it. I want to hear what Genevieve has to say about it. You name it. Kyle being injured, would we like him to get a chance to speak? I'm wondering if they're going to let him, because it sounds like they're going to do a returning player one sooner than later on this again. Is Kyle in the mix because he got injured, or is he not because he was a winner? So why bring him back?
You know what would have been nice had they went around. There were moments to be had, like Kyle and his wife had their baby. Kyle didn't even take his wife because she had just given birth to their baby. And they could have been like, we have a new member of the Survivor family, Kyle's baby. Which, if you want to do the echoes of the old live reunion, it's that kind of stuff that we want to see.
I mean, Ozzy had a kid too, right? So.
Oh, Ozzy had a kid?
That's what I hear. That's what I hear. I can only trust the internet 70% of the time.
But I will give them credit for one thing. There were no fucking celebrities. Thank God.
That's true. There was no Billie Eilish. There was no Jimmy Fallon.
Billie Eilish still has to be told what Survivor is. So I wouldn't. Again,
sorry, I still can't get over it. Like, I still can't get over the Amy Poehler.
You know what Sia wouldn't do? Sia would not do a boomerang idol. Sia just gives the players that people like money.
Yep.
I still wish they had done my idea and had all the people who should have been on the show just sitting there, just look. Because I know Rob Sestorino's there because I know he's there. I'm sure.
There was some other people there. I did not catch them in the quick little glimpses that we had.
I bet Jesse was there. I'm sure he was.
Yeah, but then there was like Big Brother. I mean, like, the CBS alum showed up.
So we don't get much in the reunion sense, which is kind of disappointing as far as questions and anything. And we get this quick little taste of Survivor 51, and the way they're describing it is so all the twists from all the event, everything from the entire history of the show, all in one season. And I'm going, what?
Well, okay. I'm coming in as the know-it-all Nancy here.
Thank you.
Okay. It is not all in one season. What it is we had old school era, and then we had new age era, and now we have what they are coining as open era, where they are taking any twist or idol or special thing that came from the previous 50 seasons, and they can randomly throw them in the game at any point in this era, which upends the continuity of knowing what to expect.
So,
but not all in one
season. That makes a lot more sense.
Okay, because I took it as everything in one season.
It's throughout the era and not all in one season.
However, I would say, Mr. Jeff, if you were going to incorporate at various times, various seasons from anything from the previous 50 seasons, this will make a certain asshole friend of ours happy. Here's an idea. How about just give me one of those seasons? The show still makes money for you guys, so shut up. Give me 39 days.
Yeah, thank you. There you go. Surprise! You thought you were going to be here for 2 weeks, sucker. Kiss your jobs goodbye. We're keeping you for a month.
Fuck your notes. 39 days.
Wow. Called your boss. You're
Give me
fired.
39 days.
You said kiss your jobs goodbye.
And double down. Give me just 2 tribes, not 3.
Yeah.
Okay, but if anything's open, let me propose something to you. If anything's open from the old era, I don't think we're going to have black people on a tribe, Hispanic people on a tribe.
Oh, no, this is the perfect time for that.
And then have ICE come out.
One tribe of ICE agents.
But they can't operate in Fiji.
Oh my Lord.
That's radical. I bet Larry Ellison's on the phone right now.
That's going to be when they do. That's going to be when they do Survivor Florida, and
Survivor Palm Beach.
Burnett's writing it up right now. the question is, though, like, okay, why? Here's my problem. I'm not mad. I'm not really mad. I mean, some people are. They're like, oh, it's too much, but I'm not mad. My only problem with this is I know CBS and I know Survivor, and they're not going to bring back like things that were cool. They're going to bring back like Ghost Island twists and like the idols, like Island of the Idol. Like, does this mean we have to see Rob again? Because guys, I'm telling you, it means we're going to see Rob again.
Maybe they can just bring back the giant statue of his head instead of him, because I kind of equate
Maybe
the
that
two
could be the
together now.
fire challenge. I love it.
Good. I can root against him in real time on Survivor.
There you go. Yeah, I'm afraid that there's going to be some things like the tokens that like I don't need
the
that.
tokens. Oh my god.
Yeah.
There's some bad ones. There's some pretty yuck.
So
There's some yuck things out there that we had. There's some good ones, but like, let's face it, the ones that are good we're still using in season 40, whatever. So I'm a little hesitant to see what they use because CBS doesn't let us have nice things. But
I do want them to give us I want them to always have like the names on the bottom of the screen and with the current tally of all the different advantages and stuff that they have.
Yes.
That way we stop forgetting.
Loved that. Loved that.
Didn't they do it in the Jesse season? I think that because it was a new era season. They did.
It was one of the new eras, but it would show their name and then show anything they had below it.
I feel like it was a Jesse season.
Yeah, and Jesse Lopez had the Operation. Oh, I can't remember what it was called. Operation whatever it was, and then it had like the list and then the check mark, and they'd cross it off.
Oh, I love the check. Yeah.
That was good.
So good. Also, I hope. And to be more serious, because they've already said there will definitely be more returning player seasons and probably sooner than later, which means they'll probably do one that
Blood versus Water is coming back.
I've heard the blood versus water thing a lot, which was like a person and someone closely, a relative or loved one with them or something like that.
Yeah.
I just hope they're still that they can still dip into, and it doesn't need to be an even amount anymore. If it has to be more new era than anything, that's fine. But you can still dip into the 20s and 30s from Survivor.
Oh, sure. There's still plenty. There's still
of people if they're still healthy and able-bodied. If Malcolm is still in great shape, if he wants to come back, please bring him back. That would be
please bring Malcolm back, please. Can we show all of these people that are pining over Jonathan what Malcolm is? Thank you.
And then if we could do new eras, all the people that we talked about before, either be Jesse's number one on the list, I think, but Ricard would be great. Shan would be. I'll deal with her being like
Ricard and his perfect hair.
I could bring back Carolyn at this point because that was the one. Carolyn in this season would have been insane. I really think
her chaos is just the best.
Something because it would have been. I just keep imagining like
can you imagine
Stephanie and Chrissy time like. So should we bring her in or?
I am picturing the conversations like this is what I see. I see Coach talking about honor integrity to Joe and to Jonathan, and then the camera flashes to the background where there's Carolyn being like,
basically she'd be the insane looking version of Jim from The Office.
Oh my god, I love it.
I made a quick switch, kind of like just. I think Carol would be rolling her eyes.
She would have, there would have been no containing her feelings about this alliance.
Can I just pop in to just ask this? Was it just me? But did everyone, like when Aubrey said that she had bought off Amazon this emotion game? I went on Amazon looking for it.
On Etsy. She went on Etsy and found it.
Oh, it was Etsy? Oh, okay. I think I saw that on Etsy with the black tubes or whatever.
Yeah.
It looked like racetracks. Okay. I think I'm going to order it.
She had bought it from somebody on Etsy, and there was like a Carson from Carolyn's season. There was a lot of controversy there because he was selling some of the puzzles, but he had taken somebody else's work that like they had it patented. And kind of selling it as for his own. So that was kind of a thing. But Carson was practicing those puzzles and stuff before his season. And that's kind of the first time as fans we got to hear that these contestants were practicing that. But that's also when we'd have the conversation, Scott, where it's like, if we're at the point where we can practice the puzzles because it's the same puzzles, we need to change things. So This is a good example of that. It worked out for us because we were happy to have Aubrey win that.
Right. But
it's another example.
But this is also, as she said herself, I mean, she was working with a motion contraption. It was a much smaller version. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It's not
wasn't
the
same
exact.
thing
Yeah.
this. But the other thing was like all those puzzles thing with the stupid, like the tree kind of thing, whatever.
Mhm.
It was the exact same one.
Yeah, it's like a 3D.
That's crazy that they just
Mhm.
kept recycling that. And it's like enough of the budget stuff. This isn't
Auction it. Auction that off. Somebody will buy it.
Yeah.
Well,
supposedly, I thought they auction all this crap off after every season.
I mean,
anyway
they
to
do
support
like
some
the torches and
the cancer
stuff.
thing.
Like very few contestants actually have their own torch.
They're not
They're
supposed.
so hard to win.
They've actually been told like the whole thing about leaving with an idol in your pocket. Guess what? I believe I read they don't get to keep the idol. They have to give it back because that's one of the things that gets auctioned off. They don't. Anyone who's left the place with an idol doesn't still have it. We've never seen him again.
They get to keep their buffs, and I think that's about it.
Yeah, that's more probably for cleanliness purposes.
Nobody wants that.
Quick trivia, just so you know, if anybody's a fan, I'm not, never watched it. One of the players for 51 will be an actor that was in Grey's Anatomy. A guy named Devin Way that apparently was a Dr. Simmons on Grey's Anatomy. As far as I can tell from the early intelligence, the only known celebrity, and I use celebrity loosely, there.
Like modern, not like past celebrity, because they've had
he's
celebrities.
Like a 33-year-old guy, so I mean, like he's not old. But the only person, and there's reported to be, and I think this may be influenced by Australia, there's reported to be a pro wrestler coming on this cast.
Oh boy, wow, interesting.
Oh well, that must have been way after I was watching Grey's Anatomy. Like I watched.
What's the name again?
Devin Way.
Devin Way. I'll Google him.
Yep.
And can we just give a little shout out to how amazing Tiffany looked when she showed up on that jury and when she the live show. I had no idea.
Gorgeous. Okay, this Devin Way, guys, for all those that don't still watch Grey's, is a few seasons back and like really was like a single episode person.
Yeah.
Okay. But Tiffany.
Well, Scott,
gorgeous.
I know you want to watch Colbert.
Yes. Yeah, it's already 15 minutes into it, so I'm already fucked on that one. So.
But I think we should talk about our feelings about the season as a whole and maybe each discuss that. And I want to say, I think the disappointment we felt at the people that didn't come back and maybe disappointment at some of the people that did make it. I know one of the big people in that people were pissed Tiffany came on because they thought there were more deserving people than her in the history of the show. I think much like her, Rizzo, several people, the producers either got lucky or had a good sense of the kind of different personalities to put together that I thought this was a very, very successful season. I know the end game was disappointing, but at least we got the winner. I think most of us wanted of the final group after Tiffany went out. I think we have to give credit that 50 for its failures and its swings and misses. I think it was a success, and there was a lot of joy I saw in the fandom that I haven't seen in a while. There was an activation of the old school players. I'm seeing more and more. One of the Survivor guys is in Louisville this weekend to do. Rupert's doing his foundation thing at the Louisville baseball stadium. I think this has brought a lot of energy to the community, and I think we have to rate this season a success. And I've really enjoyed it, and I'm sad it's over.
I can't disagree with you. I think that this season needed to happen. The franchise it needed it. I think that the cast was, all in all, a fairly good pick. There was a few people I still stand by my choices on. And not just because I don't like them, but just because like their game did not excite me. The overall though was really good. I have to say for Tiffany, like I was an instant fan of her from her pre-interviews because something stuck with me with her where she said, I don't worry about how I'll do on anything because I am extremely lucky. And if I don't have luck, I can figure it out.
Oh.
And that kind of personality going into a game like this is great. I think we need to have more people that have that kind of attitude to make big moves and do fun things on the show. Devon's, I think, is one of those people too. I can always figure it out while I'm in it. The overall cast was pretty good. There's a few people I will always be a little butthurt that they didn't get to be there and think about the dynamic of the season and how it could change. But overall, highly rated. One of my favorite seasons ever. I love a good return cast, and this was that. So I am sad. I'm sad it's done. I look forward to season 51 with a little apprehension. But I think this kind of put me back in the place of like, ooh, I'm excited to see what they might do. So I guess for that matter, it worked.
So I will just piggyback. Yeah, I did enjoy this season. I am kind of sad to see it be over. I was quite skeptical coming in because I was like, what? We have to see these same people over and over. And like, we missed a whole like era of people that didn't make it. And so I did not have high hopes for this season at all. I really didn't, but I was pleasantly shocked. It was really good. Tiffany, I liked her in her season, but she was one of those players where I was like, why they bring her back? Like, why her? What, you know? And I was quite shocked to see how far she actually got because I didn't expect it. I thought she was going to be out really soon. And to see how she played and to see what a badass she really is was really surprising. It was breathtaking. It was refreshing. I was really super happy. I'm a new fan. I was really happy to see Suri go as deep as she did because I didn't think because who's going to keep Suri around for that long? And they did. Just like she really is the godmother of Survivor. And yeah, I was really yeah. It made me fall in love with the show again.
Ooh, I feel so bad now.
Here comes Scott to shit all over our happy feelings.
Welcome to the podcast. Good news, Bear. Awesome. Good news, Bear.
You thought the S stood for serious? You thought the S stood for Scott? No. It's shit. It's shit all. Okay. All right. I will say this. There are people that I wasn't in favor of being brought back. I was very clear about that. Some of whom I thought were pleasant surprises. It doesn't mean I still wouldn't have preferred the people I might have picked instead of them, because it doesn't mean I suddenly became a convert and fans of them. At, certain players, like ones that have been mentioned a number of times, I was like, that's fine, but, didn't really charge me up or anything. I became more, it's not that I like you, I just don't like these people, so therefore I will root for you because I don't want them to win more so than I want you to win. It was a season where there were pleasant surprises and there were unfortunate surprises, sad surprises. People that I looked forward to being brought back whose games were just not good. That just the expectations that I had for them were high, and we talked about it a number of times on this podcast already. I don't even have to name them because we're talking about multiple players who somehow got such weird tunnel vision and just got away from the games that, you thought people came here to play a better game, and then they ended up coming here to play a worse game.
And Charlie.
Charlie being, we'll just go through them. Charlie's number one. Charlie,
Yeah.
I thought I had Charlie in my top 3, and
Same.
Charlie just shot himself constantly in the knees and foot. I don't know what was going on with his obsession with Rizzo. It was just ridiculous. Genevieve didn't do much better, quite frankly. And Genevieve was another one who I was really a big fan of seeing what she was going to do here. And there were others. Again, that's going to happen, but it's just when you see someone come back, and especially these are two new era people, so it's not like it's, 20 years later or 15 years later, and they're not quite as able-bodied, or they're not, as into it or as intense. Charlie had something to prove. I thought Genevieve had something to prove.
Yeah.
And instead, they just, I don't know what the hell happened there. And there were others as well. But what's important about any show and about Survivor is keep me entertained. What's the entertainment value? And there was a lot of entertainment value this season. Not just from the obvious like Devon's. I'm not here to, I've glazed Devon's enough, quite frankly. We know that already.
Stephanie, quit talking about Devon's.
Oh, shocker. Devon's. It rhymes with heavens. But, hey, I was against Mike White being brought back. And for the time he was on the show, I was like going, oh my God, I forgot. Mike White's kind of funny. He's a smart fucker. Like, God damn, I wanted him to be on it's like, I can't believe I'm rooting for the guy. I hate his TV show, but I'm going to root for the guy. Some people I didn't want Coach to come back. And initially it's like, oh, I'm glad they brought Coach back, until all of a sudden Coach became Coach. It's like, oh yeah, that's why I didn't
not
want
even a haiku, bro.
So I felt I will agree with Brian about pointing out how they did get the chemistry mix of these different players, generally speaking, worked out well. I think, unfortunately, the spots where it didn't work out well might have been those aforementioned players that somehow just didn't swirl into the mix to make an ideal ice cream flavor the way we expected. So didn't I expected more from Q. I was all hyped for Q being a bonkers crazy player this season. Wasn't there that long, things like that. It's funny because I wasn't really into new era players, but these were the three new era players off the top of my head. I thought they're either going to be super entertaining or I'm going to root for them. And those three turned out to be neither. And that's a pretty big chunk there. And the irony is they were among the new era players that I was actually in favor of being brought back, as opposed to Joe or Tiffany or even Kyle and Camilla or whatever. It was a good season until it kind of went off the tracks with the losing Siri and Rick both in one episode was kind of a gut punch for me. And then it became, I'm going to root for Aubrey because I can't, Rizzo hasn't stopped impressing me a couple weeks ago, and I can't really root for any of the other ones. So yay, Aubrey. And that's pretty much the way I felt as the whole thing finally went. I was like, okay, could you just give Aubrey the goddamn thing already? Could you please just give it to her? Oh no, they're going to give it to Joe. Oh good. Oh good. They're fucking up. They're going to give it to Aubrey. Good. Excellent. Perfect. But I want another returning season. It reminded me how much I love seeing players come back. Because you oddly get really invested in them because you have your nostalgia. I mean, some of these players, it was almost more of a nostalgic remembrance of, like your Colbys and Jennas and stuff like that. But it reminded me of when I started watching the show. And for that, I am appreciative of it. I mean, do I think this was as good as, say, Survivor 40? No, it wasn't as good as Survivor 40. But it was still really good, though. I liked it. I'd give the season a B, though. It's not an A season for me. It's a B.
Here's what I think. I think there are two versions in Survivor going forward, and they're two different games. And I think the reason Rizzo in 49, we were like, Jesus Christ, this guy's never going to play that idol, so his ass out, and they don't. Rizzo in 50 played a better game than he did in 49. And I think there's something to say that the people you bounce off of and the synergy of the group, there are probably good players that played with shitty casts that didn't play good games because of the people they played. And I think this season showed that some of the new era's decent players are probably better than we gave them credit for because they weren't playing with other great players to play the game with. And what was one of the complaints we used to always have is like, we want to see people who play the game, not people who line up numbers and just try to, do army men. I have 8, you have 7. Like, and these new era players, when playing with these old school legends, really bounced off of them in interesting ways and played good games and made it really entertaining. That being said, the new seasons are where we're gonna see the kind of stuff that is completely different than this. And you're gonna see Rizzo and somebody like Savannah dominate that. Whereas in this game, Savannah wasn't dominating it because she wasn't the queen she thought she was with this cast.
Mhm.
The only unfortunate thing, however, is that if we're talking about preconceived notions or opinions that we had already of, and we'll just sticking with new era players, is I think the new era players that we were most had the highest expectations for, that we felt already had a good game, and we wanted to see how much further they could go. And, like the aforementioned Charlie and Genevieve, and I'll throw Camilla into that bunch as well. I'm going to leave Kyle out of it because he was a winner, and same with D, whatever. And those three who, if we had asked, if you pitted, these three, and then you threw Joe, Jonathan, and Rizzo in there, who are who are going to be the 3 best players? We're probably taking at least 2 of those 3, and yet none of those 3 came anywhere close. They didn't even make jury, much less to the finals. So it's just an interesting season for reasons like that, like the way people just fell by the wayside,
Yeah,
who we would have been rooting for, but they got ferreted out really quickly because maybe in some cases, because they, like Camilla was, people thought, oh, she could be dangerous, she's a strategist, whatever. The other 2, they just shot themselves. So
I think a lot of it boils down to the fact that you're dealing with not just old school players. These aren't people that played like 6 years ago. These are people that have been sharing their lives with each other for like 20 years. They have brought their kids to events together. They either email or they beef across social media for years. And they had the loyalty game that the new era did not have. New Era does not have the loyalty game. That's why they were picked off the way that they were. If they would have all band together and said, we're going after old school and that's that. I mean, and all of that being said, at the end, we still had 3 New Era people like sitting there, like until the final 3. So
good. Like we said the other night, last week, 4 of the final 5 are all new era players. Can't deny that.
So you got new era players playing in their arena. This is their home game. It's a short season. They know how it goes. They've most recently played it. It should, by all means, give them the advantage that they did have. But if they would have had that loyalty, that advantage would have taken place.
Yeah, I think it's more about that, because it's funny, because then when you read interviews with, I've seen, I think, 3 different old era players, and this just comes up with all of them, but they ask about which version is the tougher version, the version that they played or this version.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 of them said the older version, and I think I'm telling you, it's the 39-day thing more than anything.
Absolutely. It's and having to stay.
Aubrey
in
said
the
it.
game.
Aubrey was the last one to say it, but she's not the first one who said that. And
having to stay in that game for that amount of time, there are some luxuries to it, but always having to be able to move around in something fluid is for a longer period of time. Yeah. It just makes sense. It's harder.
Yeah. Again, and just to be clear, this is not me dump. I mean, I joked before about the 26 to 39, only because that was such an iconic thing for so long, and just that sheer number just sounded like, oh my god, it's because you're already, the first thing you think is like, you got to spend more than a fucking month there. How many? You start doing the math. I was like, oh my god, and then 20 like, oh, it's not even a month. Even if it's just a matter of a few days.
This might be a silly metaphor.
Look, Survivor Australia versus the World showed you can have an amazing season with a short number of days. So
yeah,
by the way,
did that short.
That's my question. Which do we like better, Survivor 50 or Australia versus the World?
I think 50. I think 50.
Interesting.
I mean, I really liked versus the World. I thought it was really fun, a great season, but I didn't like grow through my adulthood with half of those people. The emotional attachment's not there. I didn't know most of those people. So, I mean, the rooting for them, it was just instantly rooting against them.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a lot harder to figure out exactly who I was against and for over the whole period of the game. I went in knowing who I was rooting for sure, but then there was the other players that were the middle players that I'm like, I'm not really rooting for or against Emily, but what is she going to bring to the people I'm rooting for?
Mm-hmm.
In Versus the World, it was very like, these are my guys. These are not my guys. So
I think 50 was just at points just pure entertainment, man. There's
it's
nothing.
just it had dead
There is nothing on AU Versus the World like a Mr. Beast coin flip for $2 million with Rick Devens grinning like a Cheshire cat, or Christian Hubicki saying, "I just pooped my pants." Can you quit following me? I mean, like there was so much good stuff. Or Dee Dee crashing out about Zach Brown because she didn't get to go to watch Zach Brown. And, or Emily with the verbal diarrhea. Like there was so much good stuff that
like Ozzy getting over his nerd hate. Oh my gosh.
Yes, it was entertaining. Like this season was so freaking entertaining. The only non-entertaining thing, can we just all agree, if it's in the hands of the fans, Jeff, no more raps.
God, no please, never.
No more raps.
I
still want some creepy Applebee's. I want Applebee's to be the permanent sponsor, so we can hear that. You're gonna have some juicy riblets. You're gonna have some Applebee's fries, some cheese sticks. I'm okay with that. No more raps.
And coleslaw. Oh, okay.
But no macaroni and cheese, goddammit.
No mac and cheese. Well, I would have said at first my initial reaction was, Australia versus the world, because that was so amazing. But
it was.
Thinking about it, yeah, I didn't know most of those people. Like, I knew who I knew. So there's something to be said about knowing the characters, knowing the people. So, yeah.
Well, once again.
Oh yeah! All right.
I will see. Now it seems like to be a battle of short-term memory and long-term memory, and I don't want my decision to be based on something which a lot of it sounds.
Are you trying to avoid reason?
No, trying to avoid loving something just based on the nostalgia and remembering from way back when, than the actual quality of it. One thing that we all were saying when we were watching the Australia versus the world thing, which we were not saying when we were watching this, and there were certain episodes we had issues with, including the Zach Brown one, it's like, fucking Australia versus the world was like pure, uncut cocaine or whatever drug of your choice. It was non-fucking stop.
Oh, yeah.
Now maybe people like to relax. Hammock would not have done well in survive Australia versus the world. I get now the thing I would agree with. It would have been much cooler if I was familiar with all the players, just so I would know who they were. However, why I won't let that alter my way of looking at it, it kind of reminds me of when Survivor would have partial returning players and partial new players, whether it be fans versus favorites, or they did that a number of times to just bring back.
They just did that with Australia this year.
Because I got the chance to also get to know, so, maybe I like the idea that, well, some of these players are a bit of a mystery to me, but since I know they're at least were champs in wherever they played, even though one of them I still don't know how that person did well there. That means they should know what the fuck they're doing, as opposed to some people we get, in the new era was like, well, why are you even on the show? But I mean, but come on, the opportunity to have Parvati and Tony on the same screen as King George alone. See, if I'm a comic book guy, this is like DC and Marvel doing a crossover.
Oh,
I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God. And by the way, I'm just going to say it now. I mean, so we have the cringe-inducing host who raps and then fucks up in such a massive way,
Oh my God, that's so
spoiling
good though.
millions
Sorry.
of people during the finale.
It was so glorious.
And my host of choice, JLP, in his swan song, no less. Yeah, I'm gonna take that one. It's not as by as great a distance as we thought going into the season, because I remember us talking about this and we were kind of worried, like, Survivor 50 is gonna suck compared to this. We don't even like 2/3 of the people they're bringing back.
Oh
And
yeah,
it turned
for
out to
sure.
be. It's nice that it turned out to be way better than most of us thought, but. The
Okay.
Story versus World gave us exactly what we wanted and a little bit more. The only regret I had about that is, like, I wish Tony had lasted a little bit longer. But other than that, I mean, Siri on that season is what prepped us for Siri on this season. You know?
Yeah,
Not you.
you make a lot of really, really good points. But at the end of all of this, it kind of feels like Australia versus the World, which was a fantastic season, amazing gameplay. I don't have anything negative to say about it. But it was kind of like going to Christmas with your new rich girlfriends and going to her family. And you get like this new spin on Christmas that's pretty cool. And there's like, really great like food and an awesome house. And you get like gifts and you're like, holy shit, this is the life, right? And it's really cool. Like there's so many amazing things happening. But then you go home and you go to your freaking parents' like humble little suburban home, and you're back home and you're with your family and the feeling of Christmas is there. It's like, that's the thing. I love Australia Survivor so much. I love the challenges. I love the game. In a lot of ways, they've outdone US in the modern times. But there's just something about nostalgic. You can't kill it. It means more. It just
Okay.
means more.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, I disagree, but it's fair. That's like that. You're like people who like Ghostbusters too, and I don't understand that either. Also, oh, by the way, left this out. I never like almost any of the fucking challenges on the US Survivor, and I haven't felt that way for years. I am often very much into the challenges on Australian Survivor.
Very much, yeah.
They do such a much better job of that.
They sure do.
I keep going, hey, just take those. Just do what they do. What are they going to do? Sue?
Just do it.
Hey, Mark Burnett, if I'm not mistaken, you get a piece of that. So you can't, what are you going to
Just
sue
do
yourself?
the thing.
You're like, hey, that thing where they're on those weird spiky things, or they're doing the rack thing. Oh my God, I want to see the. Dude,
Yeah.
these little fucking pussies in fucking America, please.
Yes. Make them hurt a little bit more. Also, we need to see fire launched in the air, please. Thank you.
Oh boy. All right. I think we're done.
I think we've hit it all. I think we've hit all the points.
Yeah.
Yay, 2.5 hours.
I have no words.
Okay, Aubrey.
Well, my baseball team lost, but
And now we exit with Jeff rapping. Good night, everybody.
My name is Jeff, and I can't keep saying. No one wants to hear me talk anyway. All right, so
that was better. Actually, it was better than him.
I can't even think of. Wait, which part do I do first? I forgot. I didn't write this down. No. Okay, so the podcast. The podcast will be back. Actually, me and Jamie will be back within a few days to talk about the season and series finale. My phone keeps
Another
going
finale
crazy. Of The Boys, season 5. Slight spoiler. I have my feelings. Shut up, Siri. Anyway, my feelings about The Boys finale are not much different than my feelings about the Survivor finale. Beyond that, as I've promised multiple times, we will get back to doing the Twilight Zone here. I'm gonna have to rewatch those episodes because I don't remember them. I think, Brian, you're in line to do the next one whenever we get around to it. And who knows? Maybe we might do a podcast about Widow's Bay because I have thoughts.
So many thoughts. So many good thoughts.
I don't know how I feel about the latest episode, but I have thoughts. Anyway, let me thank the folks for... No, not yet. I'm supposed to say how you can find us. You already listened to us. You found this. Google us. Whatever. Fuck that shit. Okay. We start thanking people. Again, 2.5 hours. What?
You're here. You don't need MapQuest.
Yeah, well, you already found this. I don't care. I don't give a fuck about ratings and reviews anymore because guess what? We might not have the listeners, but we somehow have more ratings and reviews than most of our competitors. So okay, yay. It's because I never pushed people to subscribe or never put us on YouTube. Like with the video cast. That's why. Oh, whatever. I don't. I can't afford this shit anyway. So anyway, now I get to thank people. Who should I
Gonna
thank?
curse them out, and then we're gonna thank them.
Actually, I gotta thank you last. I'll save you for last. So first, I'll thank Jamie. I'm glad that you were able to make time to be with us both last week and this week, since you are, like I said, the Survivor podcaster extraordinaire. And especially tonight that you already did one and you actually hopped over to do ours. So, and I'm guessing ours was a little bit longer than that.
It was, but I just I had a lot I had to say, and I knew you guys were going to say it along with me. So thanks for the chance.
And we curse our asses off on this one.
I have got some words to say, and they're not family friendly. Let's go.
There you go. That's the spot. Brian, of course, as always, I always appreciate you attending and being here. You're one of my favorite people. Thank you for being here.
I love doing this with all of you, and I'm so happy that we got our very own Tiffany. And you know what, Tiffany, you made it to the end in this one. Nobody's getting rid of you, and if they try to, it's over my dead body. So I've loved this. It has been a wonderful time, and I look forward to Survivor 51.
Speaking of Tiffany, there's a point where I get to vote her out. No, Tiffany. 30 fucking years of this. Tiffany, I'm glad that we got to turn our phone conversations into podcast conversations, even if they still were much more mild than our one of these days. If you didn't have to worry about your job, and I apparently don't care, but there are words that would have been used.
My God.
But thank you so much. I'm glad you got to make your podcasting debut with us, and who knows if we do season 51, I may come a call and may have to.
Well, Scott, thank you for doing this with me, inviting me to your show. This has been really fun. Like, I've had a ball every single week. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Huntsman of the Black Forest. I have enjoyed meeting both of you. Scott speaks so much of you, so I felt like I almost knew you guys a little bit.
Yeah,
But
same.
it's been a pleasure to meet you in person, well, via Zoom. The Zoom Alliance, shall we call ourselves
Right.
now?
This is the much cooler and much lefter Zoom
Yes,
Alliance.
absolutely.
They're cut from a sheet, and we're cut from a quilt. A tapestry, if you will.
Tapestry.
All right, my final thanks are thanks to the listeners for actually checking us out, especially if you made it through this one. But then again, if you made it through 3 hours of Survivor, we're getting close, actually. So, and with that, I never wrote down anything witty to say here, so I will only say, and Brian already took the goddamn I have no words, so I can't even do that line. God damn you, Brian. So with that final thought and the fingers that are being thrown my way, what is this, Du Bois again? Anyway, thank you all for listening, and good night.
Good night.
You guys can all say good night. Go ahead. Hurry up. Do it already.
Good night.
Oh, nice.
I'm just glad it wasn't Jonathan.